Welcome everybody to your TWitWoW Five Fave Fives. This is the 33rd edition of Five Fave Fives. Can you believe we've done that many, John? Oh my God.
That is wild, brother, for sure.
33 of these things now. This is the 33rd one, and it is the first of 2025. And it is taking sort of like our grading period is basically everything that's happened since the Raw after, really the Raw after Survivor Series War Games. Survivor Series War Games is the last pay per view that we had as a part of our last 5v5. That was, our last 5v5 took place on December 3rd. So this is 9 weeks that we're taking into account here, which is basically all of December and all of January, and of course the Royal Rumble. So we have got lists for the WWE, which is, just Raw and SmackDown. We've got a list for NXT, which does include at least a December worth of Level Up. And I will say that starting in March, when WWE Evolve becomes a thing, we will include that as a part of NXT. And then we've also got a Fave 5 for Stardom, a Fave 5 for Marigold. And our other list is anything else. That could be AEW, it could be Ring of Honor. It's going to be a lot of TJPW this time around because we did react to their January 3rd or 4th show. I don't remember which. And it could be anything else too. I mean, John has taken advantage of the other section to talk about soft ground wrestling in the past. I know you told me before we went live today, John, that you did not catch up with soft ground wrestling in this time period, so that won't make an appearance today. But I know that
Yes.
they have before, and I wouldn't be surprised if they show up again.
Still waiting for them to get a web series so I could really start covering them with more depth and more, just resources in general. But
Yeah,
I think it's still just sporadic matches. There's really no coherence to it. But
yeah,
when they get a program, if they do, if they decide to we'll make a YouTube show, then yeah, that's probably going to be my other list going forward. But
yeah.
I am excited for this today. It's gonna
I
be
know.
it's
I
gonna be a
mean,
fun time.
in terms of the other list, I know that we've watched Noah before. We've watched Wave, or not Wave, Oz Academy before. We've watched Ice Ribbon before. We've watched AAA before. We've watched CMLL before. We've watched TNA before. The other lists can be a real fun grab bag of wrestling. I know for me personally, this time around, it's going to be pretty much exclusively TJPW, Ring of Honor, and AEW. So we'll get to that when we get to it. But then after all of that is said and done, we have our universal top 10 favorite wrestlers going right now in the world lists. That is sort of the main event of Fave Fives. It's funny because we have our five Fave Fives, but then the real main event of the Fave Fives is the top 10. So, John, do you want to start with your WWE Fave 5, or would you like me to start? And really, what we're starting with would be honorable mentions.
You know what, brother? I'll start with my honorable mentions, then we'll go to your honorable mentions, and then we'll get to my number five. So,
Cool.
honorable mentions from 10 to 6, because I try and keep it to 5. Marigold is the only one where I didn't have a full roster 5. That and other where other I did not have any honorable mentions. But 10, Bianca Belair. 9, Lyra Valkyria. 8, Rhea Ripley. 7, Drew McIntyre. 6, Gonza.
Nice. We have the same number 6.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, we have another person in common in our honorable mentions, and that's Drew McIntyre. He's my number 10. uh,
Yes, yeah.
I want to actually just kind of make a quick couple observations about my personal WWE preferences right now, just because I noticed these things after I put my list together, and I don't want to go without making note of this. So I only have two women in my entire sort of top 10 of WWE and my fave 5 and in my honorable mentions combined. Only two women, and to kind of stack on top of that, only two SmackDown performers.
Yeah, okay.
So my top 10 is 80% men, and it's also 80% Raw. And if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, it's 60% men from Raw.
Yeah, I do feel like Raw is the best WWE program going right now, and then NXT is right behind it for me right now. We'll have to see what the next rating period holds, but yeah, I don't. I don't find any problem with those breakdowns whatsoever because I'm
Yeah,
very sympathetic to them. So,
yeah. I only have one woman from SmackDown on my entire Fave Five. So let's get into my honorable mentions now. Again, from 10 to 6, just like you. Drew McIntyre. Again, I already mentioned that. Seth Rollins, Penta, Sami Zayn, and Gunta.
all right. Number 5 for me, Io Sky.
Beautiful. I love that.
This is mainly because of her wrestling this grading period. I feel like she has been insane. I mean, she's always insane,
Yes.
but like I feel like lately Raw television has really been giving her matches a chance to breathe.
Yep.
And man, are we all the better for it.
Yep.
She's absolutely fantastic. Look, I've never been the huge Io stan between the two of us. Obviously, if anybody's listened to us even for a short period of time, it doesn't take that long to figure it out. But I'd like to think that I can appreciate talent when I see it, even if I'm not like the biggest fan of it. And her wrestling lately, I feel like it's been on a whole other level, especially within the WWE system. Like, I feel like the wrestling she's doing in the WWE system is probably the closest parallel you'll get to how she used to wrestle in Stardom when she was top of the fucking world there. Um, I still hope somehow she can get that match with Rhea. I have no problem with Bianca Belair, but I don't know. I'd like to see her versus Rhea next year when I think there could be more of a story that, I could really sink my teeth into with the two of them. Because right now, I think Bianca's big story is still with Jade Cargill and who took her out. But given the recent interaction between Io and Rhea last night and Rhea costing Io that chamber spot, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how they're going to let this cook. So, but yeah, Io has been fantastic in the ring. Definitely think there's another world title in her future. And I'm just really excited to see how her 2025 is going to look. So that's number 5 for me. Who is the first person in your 5 fave 5?
Number 5, Kevin Owens.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm going to have stuff to say about that later, but you go ahead for now.
I think we're in an interesting position where again, this is pure speculation on my part because we do not talk about our Fave Fives before we go live. I think we have each other's number 1 as each other's number 5.
I know, and that's so like insane to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have, I'll just reveal it ahead of time and I'll talk more about it later. I do have EO at number 1, and I'm
And I
guessing
do
you have.
have Kevin Owens as my number
Yeah,
1. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I figured. But yeah, I have Kevin at 5. I just have loved the work he's been doing lately. I think honestly, I almost have to give more credit to the writing team than Kevin as a performer because even though he's been doing a fantastic job as a performer, and I don't want to take away from him, I think he's been doing an amazing job. His character has been written better than just about any other character on the show lately, and I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I love the nuances. I love that almost everything he says is correct, and he's so in the right until he takes it too far. I
Yeah.
just I just love how well he's written. He's genuinely written as well as a legitimate like Hollywood movie villain, like a good villain too, not like like shitty generic Marvel villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is just written so fucking well, and he plays the part perfectly. And of course, he's great in the ring too. He's a great wrestler. I wasn't a fan of his match with Cody just because I fucking hate ladder matches and I hate, you know, violence for the sake of it. But his some of his promos lately have just been fire. I loved the promo that he cut on Sammy after Sammy kicked Cody. Like, oh my god, just fantastic. I am going to stop myself there though because I know that you're going to have a lot more to say later. So yeah, Kevin number
Yes.
5 for me.
I will just get ahead of it and I'll say copy paste everything you said to start my number 1 discussion, and then I'll add my little bit later. Number 4 for me, Jay Uso.
Nice. He's not
Um,
on my list at all.
I gotta say, he made the cut because of how happy I was for him winning the fucking men's rumble. I mean, the pop that got for me. Again, I said to you and our audience multiple times, that was the most me in the best sense possible. I felt like in a live reaction in so long. I feel like so much of our live reactions is just, either like me doing the play by play or like us just giving our opinions about stuff, or even in worst case, us just talking about completely unrelated stuff, whether politics or sports or whatever. In that Rumble showdown, I was completely sucked into the moment, and I was sucked into it on behalf of Jey Uso. I feel like this guy is just such a sincere and authentic baby face. That promo he cut last night, which I agree with the exact word you used. You said quote it was like a nothing burger, but it still got such a huge pop from the crowd because they're just so behind him. And seeing him cry and get choked up. And thinking about his road to WrestleMania, the promo I keep thinking about, which wasn't a part of this grading period. I'm just speaking more broadly. I think about one of the earliest promos he cut on Roman Reigns when they were feuding way back before the bloodline really got off the ground. And he said, "Why can't I provide for the family, Oos? Why can't I, be the world champion and do all this kind of stuff?" And now he's so fucking close. Like the idea that you could do this really long form story with Jay where it begins with him asking that question as a contender and then he finally becomes the champion. Like, this is wrestling at its absolute best. He deserves it. I think, again, his in-ring style, it's not most to write home about, but you know what? I'm sick of the overly flippy shit and this and that. I like his in-ring work. I enjoy his matches. And so, yeah, I pop big for him winning. And I really, really hope he beats Gunther at Mania because I think you got to strike while the iron's fucking hot. And it is fucking hot. So kudos to Jay. He's got so much momentum right now, and I think he deserves it. I'm just enjoying everything he's doing. So, who is next on your list?
Number 4 on my list is Chad Gable.
Yeah, speak on it.
I definitely have not given Chad enough respect historically. He hasn't been in my Fave Fives historically. Let me actually look because I know he's been in a bunch of yours. But for me, I don't think that I've ever had him in a Fave Five, or if I have, it's been a really long time since I have. You had him at number 3 a couple Fave Fives ago. I don't. I'm gonna look back and just see. Okay, I did have him in my Fave Five at least in July of last year, so it hasn't been that long. But man, his work, especially lately, has been insane. He was Penta's debut match, and they tore the fucking house down. His match with Charlie Dempsey on Speed is a legitimate like match of the year contender in 3 minutes, I think it was, or 5 minutes, or whatever it was.
Yeah, 5 minutes, I think, are the matches, on speed.
Unbelievable. He's been great on the mic. I just really, I think he's kind of finally hit that place where it's undeniable for me. I cannot deny him anymore.
I'm so happy to hear that because you're picking up the slack for us today, given that I didn't have him. I should also mention one other really gross oversight. If I'm just going purely by Rumble, which I know was also going to be a big part of my grading, Braun Breaker also isn't on my list to get ahead of that. And you guys know what a Braun stan I am. I loved his performance at Rumble, but his Intercontinental title reign is kind of in a middling place for me right now. But I'm glad you picked up the slack on Chad because I did not, but I agree with everything you said. 3 for me, Sami Zayn.
Nice.
Uh, I'm just enjoying the character work. I'm enjoying the struggle. I mean, this guy clearly wants to be in that main event level. He's got people like CM Punk telling him you're not on my level, which infuriates me to no end. And yet this guy isn't a heel because people keep cheering for him and he keeps pandering to them. So I'm kind of in hell right now. But Sammy's wrestling has always been great. One of the best human beings in the business. I'm enjoying his promos and his passion. And I'm curious now, given recent developments on Raw, him not qualifying for Chamber, and then Kevin laying him the fuck out with a package pile driver, which we'll get back to that. How Sammy's going to respond when he recovers. So, yeah, destined to do this forever. But I really do hope this is the year, even if it's at SummerSlam or maybe just early 2026 at next year's WrestleMania, that Sammy finally wins the world title. And even better, the cherry on top would be beating Drew McIntyre to do it. I think there's a lot of narrative potential that Sammy has surrounded himself with right now, or that surrounds him because of the writing and everything. And I know that he'll rise to the occasion and he'll execute. He's one of the best in the business today. And yeah, I just wanted to give him his flowers. So who is next on your list?
Number 3 on my list is Jacob Fatu.
Excellent. Another guy that isn't on my list, even though he's really growing on me by leaps and bounds every week.
I think if you would have watched Saturday night's main event, he would have cracked your list.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's your big void here that you're missing out on.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah.
Because he is fantastic. His promos lately have been, and that's another thing too, is I feel like you haven't really seen a lot of his promo work lately either.
I've seen bits and pieces, and I like what I've seen, but yeah, I haven't seen as much as you have or
Yeah,
others have for sure.
because his promo work lately, it's like he's almost cutting similar style promos to what the Usos used to do when they were doing the Uso penitentiary stuff.
Yeah,
That's the type of promo that Jacob's cutting, like almost like poetic, like almost like rap promos. Like he's
right.
fucking killing it. He is fantastic on the mic. He's a freak athlete. And to be truthful with you, John, the only reason he's not higher up on my list is because it is like Eddie Kingston levels of embarrassing when you see him out there blown up, panting like he can't catch his breath. That is
Yes, yeah.
strictly the only reason he is probably not even number one on my list. Because honestly, if he hadn't had those moments against Braun and then at the Rumble again, I promise you he would have been number one on my list.
If he could just work on his conditioning, which if
Yeah.
Oba can do it, I believe in Jacob to do it.
Well, and that's the
Like,
crazy thing
yeah,
too. Is like as far as the conditioning goes, he blows himself up, but then he does things clean as hell anyway. Like he can get blown the fuck up, and he's like trying to catch his breath and panting and shit, and then he does a picture perfect springboard moonsault like it's nothing. It's crazy.
yeah,
The dude's a monster. He's insane.
yeah. The dude defies biology. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
yeah.
Um, Number two for me, Seth Rollins.
Nice.
He is such a compelling character right now because much like a Kevin Owens, what you were saying earlier when he was 5 on your list, you can definitely see the rationale behind what Seth does. But then you look at what he did at Rumble and you think like, okay, that's taking it too far. Like he tried to murk Roman Reigns. Like that was insane. I love that segment though. I'm loving the fire from Seth. I thought he was very manipulative. Like I saw the manipulative side of his promo to Sammy last night. Like, oh, do my bidding, take care of CM Punk so I don't have to worry about him. And that's why I even said on the Discord, he's architecting his fucking ass off, but I'm loving his promo game. I'm loving his in-ring game. The in-ring game I've loved for a long time. The promos, though, I think have really stepped up the last year or so. And he's really been like on another level.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope he beats Finn to qualify for the Chamber. I think he will because Judgment Day is kind of a joke right now. And then just seeing him and Punk go at it again, and Cena because we know Seth and Cena's rich history. Men's Chamber could be fucking fire this year. I mean, I don't care for Punk, but just from a narrative standpoint, I think there's a lot of meat on that bone, and Seth's a big part of that. If they put the world title back on him with this kind of reign, where he's a heel, but he's not like the authority type heel or messiah type heel, but just this guy that just feels like you guys betrayed me and I was telling you guys the truth the whole time. I could ride with that. I fucks with that. So who is next on your list?
I just want to say I agree with you about Seth. He's been fantastic lately, and it's funny because you have Kevin and Seth one and two, and those to me are the two best written characters in the WWE right now by a landslide. Like it's them, and then like I would say maybe the next best written is like Roman, but also like Roman's a piece of shit, so maybe not. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin and Seth to me are the two best written characters in WWE right now, and really, it's not even close. And you and I both also have Drew in our honorable mentions, and I think he really, it's realistically, he's probably the third best written character in WWE right now. It's unbelievable how good the writing has gotten for some people, and really specifically just those guys.
Yes. Yes.
But okay, so now we get to number two on my WWE list because you had Seth at two. My number two is Chelsea Green.
Yes. I apologize also for not giving her love. I'm just still waiting. I don't know. I think for something really big for her. But please speak on it.
Well, I mean, yeah, she's probably the best character actor in the WWE right now.
Yes.
She's having great match after great match after great match with Michin. Every time they get in the ring, it's a fucking great match. I mean, she actually won. She had her really good semifinal match with Bailey and her win of the Women's United States Championship within this grading period over Michin. She had her title defense on Smackdown in January against Michin, and she just had the DQ lost to Meacham, where she retained on SmackDown this past week. All of that happened within this grading period, and all those matches were fucking bangers. So, as great of an actress and performer, and like, you know, just overall, like, non wrestler Chelsea is, she's putting on great matches at, right alongside that. She really does kind of check all the boxes to me. I think maybe the best compliment I can give her, because of how much praise I've heaped on who I'm about to compare her to, is I see her kind of as WWE's Mariah May,
Yes.
where she does kind of have this like very glamorous look, and you see her and you think, oh, she's like a Barbie doll, she's a relic of the past, she's a diva, and then she gets in the ring and she can fucking go, and it's like, oh shit, this is sort of like a new twist on the divas of the past, where it's like a diva that can put on a match of the year candidate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, that's that. Maybe I'm just a sucker for that trope, because I have Mariah ranked very, very high in my other section as well. But I mean, shit, man, wrestling at its core is a very vain business. So when you
Yes.
have an amazing look and you can do everything else well, that's just bonus points to me.
You're just spitting facts all the way down. Wouldn't expect anything else from you, though. So obviously, number one for me is Kevin Owens.
Yes.
And again, I copy paste everything you said at the start when Kevin Owens is number 5 for you. Here's the thing, though, that I want to say about Kevin, because I do think I could properly attribute this to Kevin. Because you're right, the writing is fantastic. But I look at a lot of wrestling today and a lot of what passes for heels today as very basic. I think the poster child for that would be like an MJF, for instance, where it's like, let me make fun of how you guys are poor. Let me insult sports teams. Oh, you're married? Let me tell you about how your wife is easy. It's like, it's so pathetic. And like, here's the thing. I don't think it's the writers that tell Kevin Owens to wear the t-shirts that he wears.
Mm-mm.
I think that's a Kevin Owens thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at how he wore Sami Zayn forever before pile driving him, when you look at how he
Yes.
wore the one shirt, I'm the son of an electrical systems technician or whatever.
The
The
Canadian
Canadian
dream.
dream.
The Canadian,
Yeah.
yeah, son of a, yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yep.
you can tell Kevin fucking loves this business.
Yep.
And you can tell he fundamentally gets how to be a villain, because I know we've only had Abel here and we didn't exactly have the house that I was thinking that we'd get, because these are one of our more laid back, hair down commentaries. But as a character, I have never heard this person be homophobic. I have never heard him be slut shaming or degrading or demeaning to women. I've never heard him be fucking basic. And here's the thing, you can write Shakespearean material for somebody, but if they don't have the emotion and the delivery to convey it, ain't gonna mean shit. You could have Baron Corbin with the same lines of like a Kevin Owens, and I don't think it's gonna come off well. Plus, I just never really feel like that was a Baron Corbin type heels promo style. But Kevin, it suits him so perfectly, because he does always feel aggrieved by the world, and yet like, not necessarily that Cody's right that he's a self-sabotager, but he does get himself in these situations and then he's got to fight out. And then, yeah, just the way he just fucking brutalized Sammy last night. It's like they really are destined to do this forever. And I love, too, again, as the consummate pro in an age where I'm seeing 630-degree splashes or whatever the fuck and no selling, or I go through a table and I recover 30 seconds later, he's still selling the ladder match while he's kicking the shit out of Sami Zayn. He kicks him in the head and he's immediately like, he's favoring the ribs the whole time. Not to mention his face was fucked up. But that adds to the visual. Like, the idea that this man has such hatred in his heart that I may be dealing with a cracked rib, but that's not going to stop me from dropping you on your fucking neck. I love this man. Like, it's so funny when we talk about like Mount Rushmores and stuff like that. For most people in this day and age, it's about the in-ring work, right? That's why a Danielson, quite rightfully, is on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore today. For me, I think we need to start talking about Kevin Owens being on there, particularly as a heel, even though I go to bat for his babyface work. Because, man, like, all these other motherfuckers are like, I'm going to do cheap heat and be the top heel. Kevin Owens is like, no, I'm going to show you on a deep psychological level what it means to be a fucking villain. And it's like one of the best things about loving pro wrestling is seeing actual fucking characters. If we are talking character work, this motherfucker's on my Mount Rushmore because in ring, I think he's great in ring too. But I understand like he's not everybody's cup of tea. But as a character though, and as a promo, this dude's fucking undeniable. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. If he's not on your list, if he's not at the very least at the top 10 of your list, I find that sus as fuck. I'm sorry. Because, like, wow, what else do you want this guy to do? It's to the point where Randy Orton, who I personally can't stand, I am intrigued just because, he goes to bat for Cody like everybody else in the fucking company right now. I can't wait to see what he says to Kevin. And not only that, Kevin, at least for my own personal selfish interests, it's for the greater good. He almost gave a package pile driver to Rey Mysterio and, more importantly, Jimmy fucking Uso. And Cody stopped him both times. So the Canadian dream forever, baby. I know Kevin is out of the title picture. I don't even know what KO Mania is going to look like because now he's taking out Orton and Sammy. Would be amazing if it was like Kevin in a handicap match or something at KO Mania. But yeah, I know he'll probably never win a world title again. I've kind of like gotten to that point with him because I think he is going to be 40 this year if he's not 40 already. But you put money in the bank on that dude anytime, you put a world title on that dude anytime, I ain't gonna fucking complain. He is doing the best work of his WWE career. Since just keep fighting with Roman Reigns, and before that, since just his first heel run in NXT Black and Gold, I have been loving. And honestly, this work might surpass both of those eras for me. He's been fantastic. So that rounds out WWE. For me, of course, we know you're number one, Io Sky. So please speak on it, good sir.
Yes, indeed. Io Sky at number one. I mean, you already brought up how fantastic her in-ring work has been lately, and that definitely drives a lot of this because, again, as much as I would have loved Kyrie being in the Intercontinental Women's Championship tournament, EO getting slotted in there heavily contributed to her being in my number one slot here. I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I love her regardless, but I mean, I feel like her ring work lately has more than justified this spot for me. She's been doing great ring work. Her promos have actually been decent recently. She's been doing more English promos recently, and they've been pretty good. Um, her character work's been amazing lately. She's one of the very few people on, especially women on the Raw roster that gets a reaction from the crowd consistently. It's really just her and Rhea. Her and Rhea, especially on the Raw roster, are the only women who consistently get reactions. Um, really, just I mean, it's 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 kind of a testament to her in ring that she can come out to a pop and then the match can start and it can be dead silent, but then she does one of her sort of signature spots and it sort of uplifts the entire crowd and it gets everyone into the match. And before long, you've got chants going on, you've got people cheering, you've got people engaged with the match. She kind of grabs you by the throat and forces you to pay attention to her shit when she's in the ring. That's how good she is. So yeah, EO number one easy for me.
Just to say one more thing about Io, because she was number 5 for me. I love that she is a rare case, and also oddly enough, very similar to Asuka in my mind, where she's got that magnetic personality. But I just feel like her wrestling is so goddamn good. She's getting over with the in ring, which I know you and I are more like character driven and stuff like that. And again, she does have that personality too, but her wrestling is just next level, and
Well,
not
it's
in
like
that
she's
more.
allowed to wrestle like herself again because she's a
Yeah,
babyface again for the first time
yeah,
in years.
yeah,
I mean, this
yeah,
is the dude.
exactly.
This is the first time she's been a babyface since that fucking steel cage match in NXT.
Yeah, yeah. And I think her being babyface is just it's the right fucking call. It's the right fucking call because she's always gonna give you one of the best matches on the card. So
Yeah.
yeah, really glad we both kind of gave Io her flowers. We could always count on that from you, but even I got to join in on the fun this time.
Yeah.
As we now go to NXT, and you open this one because I opened WWE. So who are your honorable mentions for NXT?
All right. Starting at the bottom, work my way up. I've got Izzy Dame, Dion Lennox, the Meta Girls, the Fall from Grace, thanks to transphobia for Jada Parker at number 7, and then Trick Williams.
All right. I have OTM at 10, Stephanie Vaquer at 9, Sol Ruka at 8, Dion Lennox at 7, and NQCC parentheses Sans Dempsey, for reasons that'll become clear later, at 6.
All right. Number 5 on my Fave 5 is Tatum Paxley.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
So, to be as transparent as possible here, I originally had Chemical X as a faction in my honorable mentions. And the more I stared at it and the more I thought about it, the more I realized, wait a minute, Shotzi is actually bringing this down. And then I thought about, okay, if I were to rank them individually, obviously Shotzi wouldn't be anywhere close to my top 10. Tatum and Gigi, though, might be. Where would I rank them? And I realized Tatum is just my favorite in the group. I love Gigi, but we haven't seen her work enough, and we haven't really seen enough from her in general during this grading period for me to really rate her highly. But Tatum, we've seen enough of Tatum overall that I know how damn good she is. And I love her character work, and I love her in-ring work at this point. We've gotten to the point that I'm not waiting for Tatum to get better. She is. She's great in the ring.
Yes.
So, we've seen a lot of Chemical X as a group lately, but I'm realizing more and more that I don't really like all of them equally. It is Tatum who is the standout to me, and really, I kind of wish the group would just kind of end so that Tatum could do more of her own thing, or we could get more Tara content, or just Tatum and Gigi as a team could do their own thing, because I'm not that into Shotzi right now. And I kind of just want her back on the main roster because I really don't feel like there's anything in NXT for her, honestly. But yeah, Tatum just been doing her thing. Great character work, great ring work. I'm a fan of Tatum Paxley.
All right. Number 5 for me, Trick Williams.
Hey, you put him one slot higher than me. Nice.
Yeah, not much to say. I do think he's tightened up his promo game a bit recently, which is great to see. His matches have still been solid. Definitely still emanates top guy energy. I think it was a huge blunder by WWE not to have him in the Men's Royal Rumble this past Saturday. Just because I would have been very curious about the crowd reaction, which I'm gonna gesture to guess that it would have been pretty massive. But they didn't do it, and it's whatever. Now I feel like I can really dial in and enjoy his program with Obafemi for the NXT title. Now that he quite literally need Eddie Thorpe out of it when he tried to like get in and be like, wait, don't ignore me, even though I just lost to Oba. And then Trick's like, sit your ass down. So he trick shotted him out of the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious where Trick will fall in the next rating period if he even gets ranked for me, but really, this is mainly because I do think he stepped up. I think Oba's really bringing out the best in him. And yeah, I said what I said because Trick was already good, but Oba, just another level. So who is next on your NXT list?
Number 4 on my NXT Fave 5 is the Prodigy, Roxanne Perez.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes. And really, she would be higher, but God, my top 3 is just so stacked. I could not put her above anyone. I mean, in any other of these categories, I think Roxanne would probably be number 1 or 2. Like if Roxanne does shoot up to the main roster, she would definitely be like top 3 or 4. Well, top 2 really, I think. Top 3, somewhere around there. I just think she's a great performer. I'm definitely hoping that she gets to turn face sooner than later, but she was clearly heel in the Royal Rumble without question.
Yeah.
She's just one of the best wrestlers, like in the ring, strictly in the ring, on the planet right now. I think, like, I don't even want to just say in NXT or even just in WWE, just in the world. I think
Yeah.
she's among that elite group of like 10 to 15 truly special in-ring workers. She's the type that can pretty much have a good match at least with just about anyone. You could put her in there with the greenest of green rookies or the shittiest of shitters, and I think she would still pull something decent out of anyone. I do think that she has a really good look for a babyface. I think that her look definitely doesn't really lend itself quite as much to being a heel, which also just is, again, more of a testament to how fucking talented she is that she's pulled off such a long and successful heel run in the first place. And yeah, just trying to show my respect for someone as talented as her, and especially at as young of an age.
Absolutely. I love it. I really appreciate everything you said about her. So again, definitely copy paste what you said when we get to Roxanne on my list, because she's definitely is on my list. If you guys listen to us talk about NXT on Weekend Review. Four for me, just gonna rip the band-aid off and let's have this conversation, hopefully for the last time. Jada Parker. Here's the thing. She really let me down. She really disappointed me with the transphobic comments and everything else. I can hope, as I try and hope for everybody, that she'll grow and she'll distance herself from those videos and she'll realize how wrong she was. Looking at it strictly from the wrestling, even though this is more of a meh period for her, just in terms of what she got to do, she's still a great promo, and I still, enjoy her matches well enough. I am worried though that like between reviews, I don't know if more will come out in the future, and then even I can't abide by it anymore. And then also, I hate her new theme. I feel like she had great packaging in the beginning, and already we're kind of seeing the tinkering that I hate. I really do not like this theme at all. I think her old theme, I've said it before, it gave me GTA San Andreas vibes. And like Grand Theft Auto is one of the most successful video game franchises of all time. Like the idea that people were even like waiting for the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, and that kind of became a meme unto itself. And you have a wrestler that kind of gives that vibe, like she could come from that world, and you're already kind of tinkering. And it's like, I don't know, it just red flags to me because I don't know what's to come. I do still think though her promo game is fucking untouchable. She's got that Stone Cold energy. I stand by it. I'm just really disappointed in her as a person, but I know this really focuses on the wrestling aspect. Because if we were focusing on just the person, Sami Zayn would probably be my number one consistently because he's one of the few really standing up for Palestinians and stuff like that. But it is a comprehensive thing. And looking at what we really grade, she's still a great promo and she's still solid in ring. And I think she's really destined for championship gold sooner rather than later. So who is next on your NXT list?
Number 3 on my NXT Fave 5 is Julia.
Nice, nice.
Did not take long at all for her to start shooting up the ranks here. I loved getting to see her do her thing in the Royal Rumble. That was really cool. I loved getting to see her win the championship from Roxanne. It's been really cool to kind of watch her rise rise through the ranks of WWE and find her way already to the top of NXT. You literally, as a woman, you literally cannot go higher in NXT than the NXT Women's Championship, and she's already there, having only been in there for like not even half a year, for like what, 4 months now ish, maybe 3 or 4 months, maybe 4.
Yeah.
She's been there for a hiccup and she's already at the top of the fucking developmental brand. Like, it's crazy. She was already in the Royal Rumble immediately after, like, the first opportunity that she was on the roster and the Royal Rumble happened, she was in it. This is how high the WWE is on her. I don't think that we've seen a Joshi wrestler get pushed this hard. I'm going to go as far as to say ever. Because even Asuka, I don't think was making main roster appearances this quickly after debuting in NXT.
Yeah.
It took them a while to do anything with her main roster wise. They gave her a really, really long and extended run in NXT where she was just the NXT Women's Champion and dominating everyone to the point that she held that title for so long that by the time she did get brought up to the main roster, she didn't even lose the title to anyone. She vacated it. And then
Yeah.
Io also had a really long and extended run in NXT to the point that like it actually took her a really fucking long time to win the NXT Women's Championship. Julia doesn't have either one of those problems going for her. And I also want to address Kairi too, because Kairi was in NXT for a while, a really long time before getting the Women's Championship as well. And when she did finally get it, she held it for a hiccup
Yes.
before losing it back to Shayna. So Julia, I think, has gotten a bigger push, at least so far. I have to emphasize so far because she could just drop that title at Stand and Deliver. She could drop it at what's the upcoming pay-per-view PLE? Is it
NXT Vengeance Day.
Vengeance Day? Yeah. She could just drop it there for all we know. We don't know. We can't tell the future. But based on what we've seen so far and the momentum that she has and my predictions, like, projecting what we can expect, it seems to me like she is getting a bigger push and more of a star treatment than any of the major Joshis WWE has ever signed in the past. And that's a big
Yeah.
fucking deal because Asuka and Io specifically are two of the biggest names on the main roster right now. So 3 to 5 years from now, how fucking huge is Julia going to be?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, man.
I
Excellent
also
point.
I also do think it's worth noting that I believe Julia is the youngest Joshi that they've ever signed. I believe it might be Io. I don't know how old Io was when she first signed. Let me actually look that up. Because Io's only 34 now. She wasn't old when she signed by any means. She was in her late 20s, I believe, but I don't know exactly what age.
Yeah.
um, she made, okay, May 28th of 2018 was when she first was in discussion. So she would have been 28 years old.
Okay.
Julia is 30. So Julia would be second to Io in terms of youth.
Yes.
But again, we've also got to remember how fucking long it took for them to slap that NXT Women's Championship on Io.
Yes.
They took their sweet time with her. They had her turn heel. Didn't they even wait until after the fucking pandemic to give Io the Women's Championship?
I don't remember.
I could have sworn she beat Charlotte for it.
She did beat Charlotte for it at NXT Takeover in your house. I just because that was Charlotte and somebody else in a triple threat. Right? Was that
It was
also?
Rhea. It was Charlotte, Rhea, Io, and she pinned Rhea to win the title from Charlotte.
Yes.
Because Charlotte had Rhea in the figure eight. Io hit the moonsault on Rhea and pinned her for the 3 before Charlotte could get out of the figure eight.
Yes.
I could have sworn that happened during the pandemic.
You might be right. I honestly don't remember.
You know what? I'm going to get us a fact check right fucking now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Io Shirai won the NXT Women's Championship June 7th of 2020. That's a pandemic show.
Yeah.
She signed with the company in May of 2018. It took her over 2 years of NXT to win the championship. It took Julia 3 months.
Yeah. That's
Holy
crazy.
fuck.
That's crazy.
I'm saying, dude, Julia is getting the fucking rocket ship immediately. I don't think even Asuka got pushed this hard this fast in NXT. Because we got to remember, she had to feud with Dana Brooke and
Yeah.
Emma. Remember?
Yeah, I do. That I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Like her first match in WWE was against Dana Brooke. That was in October of 2015. She won the NXT Women's Championship in April of 2016. So that it took her 6 months. So Julia still won the title even faster than Asuka, but Asuka held the title for a year and a half and then
Yeah.
vacated before getting called up. I'm curious how long they're going to have Julia keep that title before they call her up. Very curious. Because it could be a similar situation to Asuka, where she holds it for a really, really long time and it feels like it overstays its due. We'll see. We will see. It feels like there's almost too much of a backlog of women who are like in line to win the women's championship in NXT for Julia to have that long of a reign, but we will see. But regardless, Julia has proven very quickly in NXT that she ain't nothing to fuck with. She's a fantastic wrestler. Her English promos have gotten better very quickly as she's gained her confidence in NXT. Her Royal Rumble performance was great. I just think this woman's going to take over the fucking world very quickly. I give it 2 years. I'll even go a little bit safer and say 2.5 years before she wins a major singles championship on the main roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have Julia on my list, so I will say I appreciate that comprehensive kind of walkthrough you gave us. I was even thinking to myself too. I think I even said this when I was remarking on y'all's fantasy drafts in the Discord. I really feel like Julia's bread and butter to me is as a heel. It is pleasant to see how over she's getting as a babyface,
Yes.
but I hope they give her a heel run, bro.
I hope she
That's
turns heel while holding the title.
yeah, I think I did I even say something similar? Because I agree with you completely. So like, yeah, I love that she's that high on your list and that you gave a comprehensive breakdown. Just for my 2 cents, I do respect Julia and I do like her a lot. I just want to see a heel run personally. Um, so with that said, may I give my next pick?
Yes.
Charlie Dempsey is number 3 in my fave five.
Oh,
Um,
I have a question.
yes,
Why not just put No Quarter Catch Crew at number 3 as a whole group?
because I felt like Charlie had the most to do this grading period. And so I kind of wanted to
Okay.
separate him because I feel like Tavion, Miles, and Ren didn't have as much to do as he did because the biggest thing Charlie did this grading period was the Heritage Cup kind of program with Lexus King. But that program really did get to, again, show off his wrestling and how much better I think it's gotten, how much tighter it's gotten.
Dude,
Excuse me.
do you
Wrong windpipe.
realize that the No Quarter Catch Crew versus Fraxium tag title match happened during this grading period, right?
Huh. Well, I actually didn't realize that. I guess if you wanted to switch it, you could do NQCC, but then I would have to change my honorable mentions. I don't know who would be number 1 for that. So I think I'm just gonna keep it as is.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Charlie, yeah, he's really grown on me, and as I've said repeatedly, he's shown that he's willing to laugh at himself. I think he's an underrated promo because he always gets a good laugh out of me. And honestly, the best thing about him losing the Heritage Cup to Lexus King is that I would like to see him move on to the North American Championship. So yeah, I really do hope that's in his future this year. But NQCC as a faction, yes, I fucking adore all of them. They're my favorite faction in pro wrestling because God knows with Queen's Quest not being a thing for a minute, it's not them anymore. And yeah, NQCC just scratches that itch for me. And I feel like Charlie had a very fun grading period for me. So who is next on your list?
Number 2 on my fave 5 is No Quarter Catch Crew.
Nice.
And dude, here's the thing too. Also involved in this grading period was Ren qualifying for and then participating in Iron Survivor.
Yeah.
So I am very happy with including all 4 members in this because I do think that all 4 members deserve to be acknowledged because yeah, Miles looking like fucking Randy Orton's nephew or something out there.
Yes.
Tavion doing his thing, doing his awesome ass amateur Olympic style wrestling. Ren doing her awesome stuff. Like I think they are all great. I think they've all done great stuff. I think they're all uh definitely deserving and maybe that's why I also have them ranked this high. Just because I have them ranked at number 2 for fuck's sakes. I have them ranked above Julia Christ. Because I just love all 4 of them, man, and I think they've all 4 been doing great work. Um, that the No Quarter Catch Crew title challenge going against Fraxium was at deadline, which happened December 7th, which was 4 days after our last Fave 5. The Ren qualifier where she got knocked the fuck out by Jada,
Yeah.
where she just kind of fell into the pin and won that way. That was literally the night of our last Fave 5, so it happened after our last Fave 5. And then obviously the Iron Survivor was at Deadline again, which was on the same show as No Quarter Catch Crew versus Fraxium. Dempsey's character work lately has been amazing. I love his demeanor nowadays. I love how he's just totally laid back for no fucking reason about everything. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
lost the title, no big deal. Who cares? He's like, what the fuck, Charlie? What are you gonna do next? I'm looking forward to finding out what Charlie's gonna do next. I low key hope he goes after Tony D. I think those matches would slap. Charlie's match with Chad on Speed, I already mentioned when I was talking about Chad, but I can't not mention Charlie's contributions to it. This dude wrestles like a fucking monster. I love his style. And yeah, No Quarter Catch Crew has just been one of my favorite things in NXT for a long time now. I might have even had them at number 2 or 3 on my last Fave 5. I had them at 4, so they've actually crept up a little bit for me.
I mean, as they should, honestly. I mean, I'm lamenting the day that they get broken up because that just happens to all factions. But for as long as they're together, we should all just enjoy the ride. Because This is really special and shows that you can do technical wrestling and have a personality at the same time. You don't have to choose. They're not mutually exclusive. Brit
Butch.
Rest, you fucking washed motherfuckers.
Did you hear what I said?
What did you say?
I said Butch.
Yeah, yeah. He's kind of yeah. And I just said Brit Rest as a whole. So I mean, we're coming for everybody. Next for me, Obafemi.
Ooh, number 2.
Yeah, number 2. I mean, what else is there to say? It's Obafemi. I feel like his name has become a justification for why he's high on lists. The most top guy energy I've seen in maybe 5 years, if not 10.
Oh, do you have anyone in mind when you say 5 or 10 years?
I not even really. I just think, maybe even further back than that. I feel like this guy just can be the top guy in any company if they so choose. I think wrestling demographics as far as viewership have changed. And I like I've been saying, I think black wrestling fans, they are finally getting ready, whether it's Trick or it's Oba. Maybe Carmelo for a minute would have been a part of that conversation, but he's such a fucking dweeb right now in the booking. But really, yeah, Oba and Trick, to me, one of those guys is going to be a top fucking guy for this fucking company. And honestly, I think Oba fits the bill better than even Trick. I just think he's such a well-rounded fucking performer, the way he carries himself, the way he, his speaking style, his promos, the way he even moves to his own music in his entrance. This dude is such a complete fucking package. He's undeniable. And I have my quibbles, sure, with how he's booked as a babyface. Maybe he looks a little too vulnerable, especially against dweebs like Eddie Thorpe. But, regardless, this dude is going to make so much fucking money. I mean, him versus Braun Breaker, him versus Gunther, him versus Jacob Fatu, him versus Roman Reigns, because that's absolutely on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Him versus Sami Zayn. I mean, my God, put this dude in there against anybody, and you're going to get a magnificent story told in the ring, and you're going to be reminded why this dude is who he fucking is. I loved him this grading period. I loved his performance in Men's Iron Survivor, now that you reminded me that is a part of this grading period. Because, yeah, I think that's why I got confused, because you said our last Fave 5 was 4 days, what was it, before? Yeah, it was before deadline and stuff. So I think I just kind of associated those two. But yeah, Oba's fucking amazing. Oba is absolutely amazing. I see him having a year-plus long reign with the NXT title. And when he gets up to the main roster, I don't know. I would give him everything right away, but that's just me. I'm really disappointed he wasn't in the Men's Rumble, because I would have rooted for him to win it. Imagine how you and I would be freaking the fuck out if the final 2 was him and John Cena. And I love Jey Uso, and I pop big for his win too. But if it was Oba and Cena in there, we'd all be going fucking crazy.
We would have been fucking barking.
Oh, absolutely. This dude is a future world champion. He's a future fucking ace. He really is, I think, emblematic of how pro wrestling as an industry is changing. Again, when you think about the demographics and what really suits a top guy and who can be a top guy. And yeah, I can't wait to see him get the torch. And he's going to take it with both fucking hands and hold it high in the sky and just be our eternal fucking wrestling god. Suck it, Bradshaw. So, who is next on your list?
You mean number 1 on my list?
Yeah, as should be fucking obvious, right?
Yeah. It's the guy you were just talking about. It's Oba.
Yes.
Obafemi. Our NXT world champion, our fucking God King, Obafemi. Or, as Namor, the Submariners, people would call him Kur Khan. Our fucking God King, bro. Obafemi, he's the fucking man. I mean, you said a lot. You said basically everything. I love this dude's aura. I love this dude's swag. I love that this dude just goes out there and doesn't. It's funny because we've said a lot of times about Jada Parker that she makes wrestling feel real again. And Obafemi makes me forget that he's probably reading from a script, because everything he says just feels so natural, and it comes off so natural that it just kind of comes off like he's just kind of saying what he feels and speaking his mind and saying what he wants. But I'm guessing he's almost definitely scripted, because it's still NXT, and I'm guessing everyone in NXT is probably scripted. But Obafemi doesn't feel scripted. That's for damn sure.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
I completely agree.
and yeah, you mentioned Iron Survivor. He was fucking great in Iron Survivor. I love that it felt like the deck was so stacked against him because everyone was so desperate to just not let him get a fall. And he had to work twice as hard, really 4 times as hard, because there were 4 other dudes in there trying to not let him get a fucking fall. And he overcame anyway. That was amazing. That low key, that had babyface energy. And I want Oba. It's kind of the opposite with Oba and Julia because Oba kind of went into being a champion as more of a heelish tweener. I want him to become the fucking face of NXT. I want him to become the ace of NXT. I want Oba to turn face as champion, and I want him to carry the fucking brand on his broad ass shoulders for the next year and a half, as far as I'm concerned. Main roster can wait. He's 25. He's young. If he's in NXT for another 3 years, he'll show up on the main roster still younger than the entire main event scene. It's unbelievable how fucking good this dude is at his age. I mean, even Braun Breaker, who I know you absolutely love, and I'm a fan of myself, even Braun Breaker, Obafemi could stay in NXT for 2 years and be the
Yeah,
same age that Braun is now on
yeah,
the main roster. That's how
yeah.
fucking young Oba is. And I know it's not always super kind to make comparisons. You know, they say comparison is the theft of joy. I think Oba right now is better than Braun right now, personally.
I would agree even. And you know I love Braun to death, but you're not going to get a fight from me. I think that's partially because of Braun's booking. Like it's very similar, and it's odd that I'm crossing these streams, but it's very similar for me personally as a fan to Utami's Red Belt reign in Marigold,
Yeah.
where like I don't think there's a lot of meat on the bone. That's why I pop big for Braun's Rumble performance, especially when he speared Roman.
Speared
I lost my
Roman,
fucking
yeah.
mind. But
Did you
like
see the video comparing Roman and Braun's first Rumble
yes, I
performances?
did. Yes, I did. And you already know where my 2026 Rumble predictions are going to be going. But no, I agree with you, man. I think Oba, see, the funny thing is, and this is how you know when you're really a fan of somebody or you're rooting for somebody. I hated the shit that Oba just got done doing, just wrapped up with Eddie Thorpe.
Yeah.
And yet, because it's still Oba, I'm there. Whereas with Braun, if I'm honest with myself, if he was feuding with somebody that I did not care about, like a Ludwig Kaiser, I'll miss those matches. I kind of kick myself if I miss an Oba match.
Yeah.
That should tell you the fucking difference. I
Yep.
do like Braun a lot. Oba's must see TV.
Yep.
So,
All right, now who's your number one? I think I know.
and in that same vein, at least for me as a fan, Roxanne Perez is
Yeah.
much CTV.
God, I
Guys,
sounded like Booker T
yeah, yeah, man.
there. Oh yeah,
Um,
man.
no, guys, look, to understand this pick, I mean, first of all, there isn't really that much to understand. I have been glazing her repeatedly for the longest time, but I think to really get at the heart of it, you have to know my development and my trajectory as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I even wrote a post on Facebook after the Royal Rumble, like, I've been a fan now for 22 years, and that's crazy to fucking think about. But, like, it always was. Like, what I really gravitated to is, you know, just the technicians. And I think part of that, which we don't really talk about a lot, is there's a certain aesthetic to technical wrestling. Like there's something so fucking beautiful to me, as odd as that may sound, to a really well done German suplex that's just clean and the bridge is impeccable. Like there is an underappreciated aesthetics in my mind to technical wrestling because I think a lot of people emphasize that with like the lucha libre and the high flying. I think a perfect German suplex is more beautiful than a Phoenix splash, personally. And I've always been that way. And I just think Roxanne's wrestling is so fucking beautiful. I've seen some finishes that she's pulled off. Like I still think about that triple threat with her, Tatum, and Lyra, where she just gets that jackknife out of nowhere.
Dude,
And it's so
yes.
fucking clean.
That was so
It's so
fucking good.
fucking clean. And like, yeah, look, her promo game, I'm done talking about it. Yeah, it's not great. It's okay. Personally, I hope that when she goes babyface again, that maybe she'll kind of find like a Daniel Bryan-esque voice. Because I'm telling you, babyface Roxanne Perez is a WrestleMania main eventer.
Yep.
You know what? That is my big bold John claim right now, where I am putting my nuts on the fucking table. Babyface Roxanne Perez can main event a fucking WrestleMania.
And you know what? I'm glad that you brought up Daniel Bryan because that's the exact style of babyface that she would need to be.
Yeah, and I think she could pull it off. I do. I absolutely think she could fucking pull it off. As a heel, I enjoy it enough, but you know what the funny thing is about her as a heel, and it actually goes back to the promos, and it's not even about the whole her being adorable or anything. Well, maybe it kind of is, but like, I don't believe you. Like when you brag about all this shit, I think you're just happy to be wrestling. I think you're having the time of your fucking life, and I think you actually really like the people you're wrestling, and that's why when you're
So
like,
it does kind of come back to her adorableness.
that's why I even said before I said it that, kind of. But I think it's just, I don't know. I think she's young, and I think and I don't mean this as a critique, quite the opposite, actually. I think she's young, and in a way, she's still kind of in the honeymoon phase of her career.
Yeah.
Were you being a heel right now? I don't buy it. Why Bayley's heel turn to me was so successful, she had been exposed enough to the business, even in kayfabe. She had won championships. She had been betrayed in relationships. Now Roxanne herself, she's been betrayed, sure. She's gotten a little bit of that education. That was even part of her heel turn. She said, I lost title without ever getting beat. My friend betrayed me until coming back to me weirdly, stuff like that. But I don't know. With Bayley, it felt more earned. And so when she destroys the Bayley Buddies and she goes on to do what she does, one of the greatest runs ever, that was fantastic. I don't know. I feel like this won't be the last time Roxanne's heel, but I will say too, as alongside me thinking that a babyface Roxanne can main event WrestleMania, I also think that a more seasoned Roxanne turning heel will be a lot better than this current run, because she'll have more experience under her belt, both in real life and just in kayfabe as a character, and she'll have more to draw on. But even all of that notwithstanding, I am so glad that you said one of the best wrestlers on the planet, because honestly, I entertain those notions, but I understand what a big claim that is. And I'm still thinking, though, I'm like, Stardom's kind of cooled down for me, and they still have some amazing women. Marigold is really weird because I looked at their roster, and I even told you before we went live, I'm like, please, for the love of God, hire more people. Most of the men that I like are more character driven, like Seth and KO, especially, even though they're not bad in-ring workers by any means. I'm like, yeah, when you take all of that into account, she really is one of the best in-ring wrestlers on the fucking planet right now. And I wish that her and Julia, I don't know, the matches weren't quite the level that I wanted them to be. I think because of the whole, like, let's get Cora involved and let's do all this. And I personally don't like that Vengeance Day has Bayley involved. Like, I want Bayley and Roxanne to be a one-on-one program. Personally, I would have liked Julia Roxanne to either be Iron Woman, or hey, even a match we haven't seen in a while, like a 3 Stages of Hell type thing or something like that. I thought that would have been cool. But even with all that, I still love Roxanne to death. I still love watching her work. There are times where I'll go and I'll do other stuff while wrestling's on just because my time management is awful. But when I know that Roxanne's on, I'm like, you know what? Even if I'm a little late for my other stuff, I have to see her compete.
Yeah.
So, yeah, love her to death. And that rounds out my my NXT list. You already gave Oba as your number one, so we're just done with NXT, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting because I kind of feel like Roxanne, because like your fandom has really been all over the place as a wrestling fan. Like you were a Benoit fan, and then you were a John Morrison / Johnny Mundo fan, and then Utami. Well, really, then Kairi, then Utami.
Yes.
And it's like, what do all these people have in common? Literally fucking nothing. Like you went from like an undersized technical guy who's super intense to like a super laid back, chill, flippy guy to an adorable Joshi with an amazing high impact elbow drop to a fucking power wrestler Joshi. And none of them have anything in common other than the two Joshis back to back. But now I think we've almost like cycled back on itself because Roxanne feels like your sort of fandom spiritual successor to Benoit to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what? I think when you put it in those terms, I can't argue with that. I think this is the first and only time in all these fucking years that I can say unironically, I'm complex. But, I think Roxanne, she definitely, yeah, she definitely scratches that itch that I think has been just so unsated for me for a long time because, as you know, I hate fucking Brit Rest. I like Zack Sabre Jr. a lot, but I'm not watching New Japan on the regular. And if I was, maybe he would have been scratching that itch and he would be in the spot now, especially now that he is the world champion. But no, what I love too about Roxanne is she's so fucking young too. Like I'm gonna have all the time in the world with
Dude,
her.
what
To
is she like,
appreciate her wrestling.
23?
Yeah, 23. 23. And
Good
so
lord.
Also, what's so interesting about what you say is,
she's younger than Starlight Kid.
yeah, I mean, bro, like what's crazy is she might be, when you talk about like my faves and all that, like my lineage of faves, she might be the youngest fave I've ever fucking had. Because I even wonder like if she's younger now than when I first really like embraced Utami as a fave. And that's crazy to think
She
about.
is. She is.
Yeah.
Because Utami, I think when Utami debuted in Stardom, she was already in her 20s.
Yeah.
She's 26 now. She debuted in 2018. So when she debuted, she would have been 19 actually. But she turned 20 like a month after debuting. So when we first started watching Stardom, she would have been 20 going on 21. But you really didn't become like the full blown like Utami stan until what, like 2022 maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So
That
yeah,
sounds
she would
about
have been like 23ish, same age
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, so, like, around the same age, yeah, and, like, it's just it's crazy that, like, I'm really starting to pluck out the youth, which feels so nice. I think also it's probably like a psychological subconscious trauma because it's like, no, if you get them young, they probably won't die or have anything fucking horrible happen, so just,
Yeah.
just embrace the fucking youth for Christ's sake, but yeah,
Get it on the
she's
ground
great.
level so they don't have the CTE yet.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's so horribly true. So that's NXT. What a wonderful note to end that one on. As we now go to Stardom, and now I do honorable mentions first, then we go to you, and then we do my number 5. So
Hell
to
yeah,
begin
Stardom time, baby.
from 10 to 6, I actually quite like this one this time around. Uh Number 10, Arena.
Ah, nice.
Number 9, Tomoka Inaba.
I love that.
Yeah, I couldn't really put her higher. Now this surprised me. 8, Yuna Mizumori. I have really enjoyed her high-speed work as of late.
I love that.
7, Aya Sakura.
Very nice.
And 6, Momokogo.
Yay.
Really still wish she would have beat May for the high-speed title, if I'm honest. But who are your honorable mentions, good sir?
Well, I have an honorable mention to my honorable mention list because 5 just wasn't enough. So, my 4 honorable mentions to my honorable mentions are the Inaba sisters, Tomoka and Azusa,
Nice.
Azumi, and Hanan.
Nice.
You heard me say Azumi, right?
I did. I did. So I'm very curious who that Fave 5 will be.
Okay, so
Uh,
now my actual honorable mentions, because remember, that was the honorable mention to my honorable mention.
oh, shit, that's right. Okay, so please go ahead.
So that was effectively like 14 through 11.
Yes.
So now my actual honorable mentions, so 10 through 6, Athena,
Okay.
Mayu Iwatani,
Okay.
Saki Kashima,
Okay.
Mei Seira,
Yes.
and Momo Kogo. We had the same number 6.
Nice.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me, keeping the ball rolling, Azusa Inaba.
Yeah, there you go.
She is so goddamn good already. Oh, my God, bro. Women's wrestling. Like, men keep up for real. Like, what the
Oba's
fuck?
like, I know you're not talking to me.
No, no, of course not, God. I'm sorry. Watch my fucking tone. Uh, but no, in all seriousness, man, Azusa's great. Like, it's weird, right? Because we try and be ethical, moral people on here, and I think by and large, I mean, you consistently succeed. I am definitely questionable, but like, I'm like, should I be putting this much shine on a 17-year-old and encouraging very ambiguous, questionable child labor practices? And then I watch her wrestle, and I'm like, there are people doing worse things right now than me giving her flowers, so I'm gonna let myself do that. Uh, I really like her, man. I like Rena too, but you know what the funny thing is? You can already tell based on this scheme that I've got going on here that I have already liked Azusa more than Rena, and that's very telling because how long have we been exposed to Rena? And how long have I been taking up for her? And yet we see Azusa with a bit more regularity now, and I'm like, she's fucking awesome. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
dude, she's
honest.
great. She's
I'm gonna be
fantastic.
I'm gonna be honest, and this is definitely like a hot take in my mind. We just recently saw Rena become the number one contender for the Wonder of Stardom title, which I still think is a cool and unique decision by Stardom. I'm not bemoaning it. But I feel like if you put Azusa in that spot and have her get the upset over Ano, I think her and Kid would have a better match than what Kid and Rena are gonna have. That's my hot take. Like, I just feel like in the ring, Azusa is better than Rena right now. And that's, again, pretty fucking wild to think about. I do enjoy Devil Princess as a tag team. I do hope that they become Goddesses champs at some point. But Azusa, as she gets older, like much like Hanan, now that she's in her 20s, it's like, let's fucking go. And it's been amazing. I see a very similar thing for Azusa that when she's in her 20s and she's really able to mix it up with the big guns of Stardom, you and I, like, our fandom will continue to grow. I could even see Azusa at this point in time, not getting too ahead of myself. I could see her being in the top 3 for me at the very least and in that number 3 spot. But yeah, I'm keeping a very close eye on her. She's amazing. I've prattled on enough though. Who is number 5 on your Stardom list?
Saori Ano.
Nice, 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 nice.
Yeah, we've seen just enough of Ano that it kind of reminded me how much I fucking adore this woman. She is so talented, and her in ring sort of style is so unique too. Um, it's weird because in Joshi, everyone's so worried about being cutesy, or on the other side of the coin, beating the fuck out of each other. You know, your Micahs, your Utamis, your, that sort of style. And Ano is nowhere near either one of those things. She has no interest in like over the top beating the fuck out of anyone, but she's also not like a cutesy wrestler either. She is a technician, and she has got, I definitely think, some of the absolute best bridges in the business, and I love how unique some of her stuff looks. And I also think that her psychology is exceptional, especially in the context of Joshi wrestling.
Yes.
So I love Ano, and we've seen enough of her during this grading period that it's really reminded me how much I love her and why I love her.
You know what, man? I love that for you. You're always a real one for giving people the flowers they deserve, and I deeply respect that. I hope to follow suit with this next pick, Saki Kashima, number 4 for me.
Yay!
Man, I gotta tell you, I've always loved her wrestling, but particularly in this grading period, I think her wrestling's been great. But I'm gonna be honest too. I was really moved on the one Stardom show this grading period that was Mayu's anniversary. And Mayu got on the mic and she said, well,
Uh,
all things considered, it's your anniversary too, Kashima. And the crowd actually like applauded and gave Kashima her flowers and she got teared up. And I'm like, man, I love that for her because I feel like people like Kashima, wrestlers like Kashima that really are, I mean, let's just be candid, like what puts her above them, I think, is that she is a great comedy wrestler as well. But she would be seen as like a good hand in North America, right? Like that technician where it's like, hey, we want to get this act over, give them a really good match or whatever, and then, be on your way. I feel like they don't really always get the kind of credit that they deserve. And Kashima, I don't know. I think you look at the Stardom landscape. Maybe she would get it more so now because of the shakeups and everything. But I feel like Kashima was always kind of under the radar for a lot of people. But she's fantastic. I think as a promo, she's fucking hilarious. Damn you, Stardom, for no longer translating promos. In ring, I love that in ring she holds out on us.
yeah.
Because like just when you think you've seen everything Kashima can do, she'll pull out like a random submission or some fucking shit, and you're like, where the hell did that fucking come from?
She in the
I,
ring, I think she's kind of like an Ishii type, where she's like an anything you can do, I can do and make it look even better,
yes,
and it's kind of
yes.
incredible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So no, man. I mean, I don't know if Kashima will ever be this high on a Fave 5 for me again, but I never want people to take that as you don't love or appreciate Kashima because I do. And again, I really just enjoyed her work this grading period. And also I was really moved by her performance in that Mayu anniversary matchup and her just getting teared up. Like, she's fucking awesome, man. People like Kashima are needed on any wrestling roster for it to succeed long term.
Yeah.
And she is a fucking real one. So kudos to you, Saki. Kudos to you.
Hell
Who is
yeah.
next on your list?
Number 4 on my Stardom list is a newcomer, someone that I could not have ever had on my Stardom list before because she's never been in Stardom before. Kyoka Kotatsu.
Dude, I wanted to put her, and I just decided against it when competing with everybody else, but she will get on a Fave 5 for me probably next quarter if this keeps up. But this is your time, so please talk.
I loved her immediately when we watched her when she was Maya Fukuda competing in GLEAT, thanks to Kirby Freeman's request. And
Yes.
she shows up in Stardom, immediately joins God's Eye, and I immediately love her as well here. I mean, this woman is a fucking killer. You just see her and you're like, "Oh, she's this skinny little thing and it looks like her head's too big for her body." And then you watch a match and it's like, "Oh my god, she's fucking terrifying." She is a killer. She will kick your fucking head off. She has submissions that look super legit, super painful. I just, man, and here's the real fucking catch, right? She's so fucking young. I mean, she's not like Azusa young, don't get me wrong. 24 years old though, and already this good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, like that's the thing. Just to add, just to kind of back you up there, it's not even just the age; it's the age relative to how good she is already.
Yeah.
That's such a high fucking value. Yeah, she's insane, bro. Insane. Anything else you wanted to say?
No, go ahead. Number three.
Number 3 for me, Mina Shirakawa.
Wow.
Didn't see too much of her this grading period, but it's fucking Mina, you know? And like, she just fills me with happiness. She really is one of those people that we can only see her once in a grading period, and that'll give me more joy than a lot of other people that I see on a regular basis. Um, I do hope now that she's like recommitted to Stardom, that the kind of AEW flirtation for the time being has ended, mainly because I want to see her and Kamitani for the world title. And for fucking Mina to get her due, god damn it, because she's one of the best wrestlers on the fucking roster. She's just incredible. Yeah, I love her. I love everything about her. And that's really all there is to say about it. We want Mina. I want Mina always, forever, 100 years. Mina and John and everybody that loves Mina. Fuck yeah. Who's next on your list?
Number three on my stardom list is the Empress, Mina's co-leader in EXV, Micah.
I love how much Micah has like grown in so many ways, including in fandom for some people. So, how has she grown for you?
Uh really I think just kind of enjoying watching her matches overall. I feel like we watch a lot of Micah matches, including even just like the most recent match where she wrestled the rookie Yuria Hime, and like the idea that Yuria loves Micah and Himeka enough that they let her use Hime as her last name is really cool to me. Um, I think that we've gotten to the point now that Micah is on our like, if there are no absolute shitters that we hate like Koguma or Sayaida in the match, and even if one of them is and it's just one in a big group of people we like, we will absolutely watch it. I've enjoyed Micah's work with Hamabe, kind of I don't want to say training, but almost like mentoring Hamabe. I think it's also worth noting that the very end of the Goddesses Tag League is part of this grading period, which also does include Micah's work with Hanako with the High Cup Mate team.
Yes.
Um, it's interesting. I think that what really has done it, and that I'm starting to realize, is that I'm loving Micah in strictly speaking in terms of her relationships with the women around her. I love Micah's
Yes.
relationship with Mina. I love her relationship with Hanako. I appreciate her relationship with Hamabe. I like her relationship with this new rookie Hime because we know that Hime is a big fan and she kind of, it seems like she might be able to take her under her wing kind of. I just love that Micah has really kind of taken on this sort of mama hen role in Stardom. Um, with whoever is willing to kind of accept her mentorship, obviously. It's not like she's going to be fucking mentoring, Natsuko Tora or anything like that, or, crazy like that. But I just really appreciate her kind of going out of her way to sort of offer her guidance to anyone who's willing to accept it. And I think between that and just the fact that I've really thoroughly enjoyed her matches for a really long time now, and her in ring is really good. Yeah, it's good shit.
Yeah, dude, I just love how far Micah has grown as a performer, and even with like the two of us, because granted she didn't make my list, even my honorable mentions, but yeah, I'm digging what she's doing. And really, I got to give credit to you too, because the fantasy fucking Stardom draft that you did is kind of like a story kind of building thing last night that you showed me. I want Micah and Hosky on the same team one of these days. That shit would fucking cook.
Yes.
So yeah, and again, that just goes back to what you said, Micah's relationships with the women around her.
Yes.
Two for me, Hanan. Really, again, very similar to Mina. I hate that she's with Ida right now with the Goddesses belts. I know that she shouldn't be Wonder Champ right away. I get that winning that belt is a huge fucking deal. Kid certainly had to pay her fucking dues to win it. I get that Hanan, I guess, still has more to pay. But God, she's so goddamn good. I really can't wait for her era just as the ace of Stardom and her first world title reign. That's going to be special to witness. I hope anyway. I hope this doesn't age like milk. But yeah, I just think she's incredible. Amazing look, amazing fucking look, great in ring, just everything you could ask for a top Joshi ace in a company. Ida, I think, has improved too, but I'll never like her, and I'll never really like Wingori as a tag team because this is the case where I really do see a Michaels and a Jannetty, quote unquote. Except the difference is just when you thought Michaels was going to start flying, Jannetty's like, no, but we can do things together still, and now they are, and it's like, God damn it. But I love Hanan to death, and the next time she challenges for the white belt title, or the Wonder title, I should say, and the white belt, which presumably would be against Kid, that is going to be a fucking banger and a match of the year contender. Mark my fucking words. So just waiting for it. Until then, she'll have to settle for number 2 on my Fave 5 list. Who is next on your list?
Number 2 on my Stardom Fave 5 is Hazuki, as a matter of fact.
Yes. Excellent.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty bog standard for me at this point, pretty textbook for me at this point. You know, Hazuki is one of my faves in Stardom, and I do feel like she's been getting less to do lately, which is probably why she's not number 1. But that doesn't stop her from still being an incredible performer. Um, I really want to see her get more to do, and low key, I really want to just see her leave Stars entirely. That might have even contributed to the draft that I did last night, actually, or not
Yes.
last night, but however many nights ago it was that I showed you last night.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Love Hazuki as a performer. Wish she'd get more to do, and I don't really know if I have much more to say about it than that, honestly.
All right. Next for me, number 1, Starlight Kid. Um,
Wow. Okay.
I just goddamn, because I understand grading periods are also like actual time, but I also like to think about it as like content that you and I have consumed at that time.
Yeah.
And so her white belt win that we saw, even though that was 2024, in fact, wasn't that even still a part of this grading period
Yeah.
technically? Because like, yeah, so it still counts either way. So yeah, I thought it was a great fucking match with Natspoi. I love her as a faction leader. I think she's got so much confidence right now and she's showing it in her matches. Again, I really can't grade promos. I yearn for the day that we can talk more about promos in Joshi culture. I yearn for it so bad because,
Yeah.
like, there are so many personalities that are being underutilized and just fuck you, really. And that's to just, I don't know, the earth. Fuck you for borders and lack of funding for humanities and things adjacent to humanities like translators and cross-cultural promotions and just fuck you for happening, really. Fuck you for everything. Um, but what I see from her, I love, and I am so excited for her white belt reign. Now, Rena isn't exactly the start that I envisioned. I really thought that we would run back her and Ano this time with Kid as the champion, not as the
Yeah.
challenger.
Yeah.
So that was a choice. I'm not saying it was a bad choice. You can see I've even stood by it, but it was a choice. And so we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm hoping she faces Hanan. Hell, maybe she will face Zeus at one point. I don't know. And again, I already said I think those two would
Hazuki.
have a better match. Hazuki, yes, Hazuki. I think with somebody the stature of Kid and the way she wrestles, put her in there with anybody, and you're gonna get at the very least a decent match. At worst, a decent match. At best, oh my god, fucking amazeballs. Good luck, everybody else. Match of the year. So yeah, I'm really happy that she's getting her turn with the Wonder title. God knows she fought for it so fucking hard, and I'm just happy to be here for it. I've been an advocate for Kid for a long time. There have been times she's been lower on my Fave Fives. This isn't the first time that she's been number one. We're in a number one period right now. We'll see what the next grading period holds, but I still think she's got the goods, and she's got one hell of a future, and she's got one hell of a present right now. So I am curious, though, because Osmi was in your honorable mentions. Hosky was number 2. And I feel like, normally who I would guess for number 1, I'm tentative to guess this for you, just because I don't know if their grading period was that fire. But then again, you remember things clearly with NQCC earlier that I had forgotten, or you keep a better track of time than I do. So who is your number 1?
I think this might be a case of that.
Okay.
Because I do kind of go out of my way to watch this person's stuff on AEW more than you do.
Oh. Oh, well, then it wasn't who I was thinking of anyway. That's interesting. Okay, so who is
And
number
I
1 for you?
also watched her match at Wrestle Dynasty, which was amazing.
Okay.
Mina Shirakawa.
Oh, okay. Because because I was thinking exclusively Stardom. I was like, normally I would expect like a May Serra to be here, but I don't remember her grading period being that fire. So no, Mina makes perfect sense. Now that you
May
put it
was
all
in my
together like
honorable
that.
mentions. I guess you must have just not remembered.
I must have forgotten that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because keep in
And
mind, you had an
Mina,
honorable mentions for your honorable mentions. So you had a
that's
lot of
true.
names in
I
there.
had 9 total in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. But no,
yeah.
go ahead. On
Mina, though, yeah, Mina has been, and again, it's Mina and Micah. Those two. If it wasn't for Hazuki, those two would be monopolizing the top of my Fave Fives pretty consistently. But Mina took it this time around because I just feel like she's gotten more to do. She and Micah kind of similarly, they both kind of serve as that like very like parental role for EXV and really even arguably for other women on the roster. It seemed like Mina was really getting along well with Athena, maybe because of the English. We know Mina speaks pretty decent English, and
Yes.
Athena can speak some Japanese, but she's not fantastic at it by any means. Um, Mina also got to work some AEW this time around. Her title match with Mariah May was part of this grading period, so there's that as well. Her title shot against Mercedes Moné at Wrestle Dynasty was also a part of this grading period. I watched that. I know you didn't. I thought that was a fantastic match, almost match of the year quality to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mina to me, and I know that like those didn't take place in Stardom, but I'm not going to give Mina the other section just because she had some of her best work outside of Stardom. I still want to include her here in Stardom
Yes.
because she still works primarily in Stardom. Uh,
Yes.
I also, she also just kind of enjoy. Oh, again, we got to go back to the New Year Unit Competition League thing, the finals. Neogenesis versus EXV. I think Micah and Mina both had great performances in that.
Yes.
I feel like Mina might have even been the MVP of that with like her pin breakups and stuff, right?
Right.
So yeah, Mina just I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of have a very small pool of absolute favorites in Stardom to choose from, and whoever out of them kind of, has the best showing in that grading period gets the number 1 spot. That happened to be Mina this time around.
All right. Well, let me see. Let me pull up my list. Yeah. So,
Marigold time.
Marigold, baby. And now you go. I think you go first with honorable
Yes,
mentions here, and then I
yes.
go.
How many honorable mentions did you end up to be able to pull out? 4?
I was one shy of what I
Yeah.
like. Hire more people, Marigold. Seriously, I
They need
can't.
to, dude. I'm saying they Rossi talked about how he wants to expand the roster, but he said it in such a way that it implied that it just means bringing in more rookies, basically.
Actually, last minute fucking breaking news change here. I am able to get my 5 because there was a person I wanted to add to my Fave 5, and I totally blanked for some reason, probably because I was like, Marigold really fucked my head more than any other list. So I will get my 5. That's the good news. And
Nice.
yeah, I have a last minute change to my whole
Sweet.
structure here. So yeah, with that said, please go ahead, good sir.
All right, working my way up from 10 to 6. Number 10, Naho Yamada.
Nice.
Rhea Seto,
Nice.
Nagisa Nozaki,
Nice.
Victoria Yuzuki,
Nice.
and my very, very highest honorable mention might crack into my Fave 5, but it is going to be difficult because my Fave 5 is hard to fucking crack in Marigold because it is literally like the 5 women in Marigold who can fucking go. But my top honorable mention already, after having only been wrestling for a month at this point, Seri Yamaoka.
Very nice. Okay. 10, Nagisa. 9, Misa Matsui. 8, Mirai. 7, Kizuna Tanaka. And 6, Rhea Seto. I really, really like Rhea. I'm telling you, you put her in a Dream Star this year, like the grading period, like the Fave 5 after a Dream Star, if she's in it, I think she would break for me. She has got all the goods to me. I love her.
I think Kizuna Tanaka might have been an oversight by me because I don't know how much she really worked during this grading period.
She unfortunately did have that back injury, but I'll tell you, man, I really like her too. Fucking adorable as shit. Good fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marigold has the pieces. I just need them to round out that roster a little bit. So who is number 5 for you, man?
Miku Aono, all the way down at 5.
Damn, I
I've
think you and
had
I both
her
are just waiting for more to do.
I've
Yeah.
had her at number 1 historically in the past. Not last time, but she was the time before that. She was at number 1 on my uh, October 15th Fave 5. She was also number 1 on my September 3rd Fave 5. And she's been either number 1 or number 2 in, I believe, every single one of my Marigold Fave 5s until now. This is the first time she's not 1 or 2, and she's all the way down at 5. And I don't necessarily blame her for that. I think, like you were saying, it's really more that she just, like, she lost the title to fucking Sakurai. And dude, here's the thing: her match with Sakurai might end up being a worst match of the year candidate for me.
Oh, did you
Um,
actually watch it?
I can't bring myself to watch the whole thing, but I've seen highlights and it's disgusting.
Oh, you were so like how I was with Danielson versus Osprey for the awards we just did, like at the end of the year last year. It took me 2 viewings to get through that match, and you such similar energy. I am so sorry.
Dude,
That's horrible.
I've seen highlights and Aono hit a fucking middle rope Styles clash, and neither one of them was able to move afterwards for so long. And the most egregious thing is they recovered at the same fucking time.
Oh my god.
And the recovery was they both got up to their knees to do a forearm exchange.
That's some AEW shit. I'm sorry.
And
What
then
the fuck?
later on in the match, after that spot had already happened, she hits the clash, rolls her over into the pin immediately, and it gets a fucking near fall. Not even like a finger on the rope, weak bullshit. Sakurai kicks out fully of the Styles clash after having previously been hit with a fucking middle rope variation.
Yeah, yeah, I can see why it's a contender for you. That's ass.
It is disgusting.
I am so sorry.
I am sorry for Miku. That is
Yeah.
disgust. Like, fuck you, Rossi, you old sack of shit.
Dude, now rein me in if I'm being hyperbolic here, because you're just telling me this secondhand. But you love Sakurai so much. This being Rossi now. Rossi loves Sakurai so much. He loved her to Miku's own detriment because now I've always envisioned Miku as a world champion. I still do. But like, how can we expect the Styles Clash to win a world title now? Sakurai is
Exactly.
doing
How
this
the
shit.
fuck is she gonna be able to beat someone like Utami or Sari or even Bozilla with a Styles clash if she can't even beat Sakurai with one?
That's really bad, Hat Man. No pop. What the fuck?
It's gross. But that does not stop Miko Ono from being one of the 3 or 4, maybe 5, which is why she's in my top 5 best in-ring workers in all of Marigold. And so, I had to show her love for that at least.
Absolutely. Me, for my number 5, in case anybody needed any more proof of how much of a simp I am for good mat/technical wrestling, Seri Yamaoka already is number 5 for me. Look, she has the benefit of, in my opinion, kind of a shallow roster in some way. I've been complaining about roster size multiple times now while we're on Marigold, and she really benefits from that because look, my honorable mentions, there are great people in there, mainly Nagisa, who I do still really like. But I just love that debut match against Mirai. And that 6-woman tag we watched recently with Seri in it, because I know we're unfortunately skipping a lot of her stuff because she's fucking tag champs with fucking Nana A. Why? Why do we keep doing this? Fuck. But she's fantastic. When she gets the green out of her system and she really becomes like a well-rounded, polished performer, oh my God, we are so off to the fucking races. I mean, you were talking about a future world champion. You were talking about really, she'll be one of the first people to win every championship in Marigold. I don't know if she qualifies for super flyweight, so I guess I should also qualify every championship that she is in contention for. She's already got the Twin Star tag titles with Nane, and that took no fucking time at all. Um, she is a fucking stud.
I'm
I
seeing
love.
her weight listed at 54 kilos, which is just under the super flyweight limit.
Interesting. I will say too, for as much as I've been harping about how I would love to see a cultural shift and see more promos and stuff like that from Joshi, in her debut with Mirai, I love the emotion. I love that she's such a competitor that a draw is the same as a loss to her. Like, fucking fight me. Like, let's settle it. No, she's great, man. She's great. Get her the fuck away from Nane. Get that polish that she needs. I think she'll be a consistent top 3er in my Marigold Fave 5. I'm telling you, like, women's wrestling is just fucking it right now. It's eating on every conceivable level. And Yamaoka, I don't know. This could be Marigold's Kurt Angle. It really could. She's nuts already. I can't wait to see how good
I
she'll
think
be
I kind of see
in
her
6
as
months.
Marigold's answer to what Utami was in Stardom.
That's fair too. That's absolutely fair too. I cannot wait to see where this woman will be even in 6 months, let
Yes.
alone a year.
Yep. That's
Um,
how short of a timeline we're working with, and I agree.
yeah. So who is next on your list, brother?
Number 4 for me is Sari.
Nice.
She's worked just enough matches over this grading period, and really they were almost all in December, with the one big one being in January to lose the title to Utami, that she got on my list here. God, she's fucking awesome. Her Uranage chains, when she just decides it's over and she doesn't even feel like winning, she just is like, you know what? You made me work for this, so fuck you. I'm gonna bully you now. It's
Yeah.
so fuck like there's almost a degree of catharsis to it because it's like I wish that more people in wrestling would like really fucking finish their opponents rather than just let me hit you with this one move that won me matches before. No, no. Fucking win. Like it's like a Wardlow thing too. Like the way Wardlow does the power bomb symphony or whatever it's called. It's
Yeah.
got like that level of catharsis to it when Sari does fucking Uranage like 3 times in a row. Like, oh my god. Like,
Yes.
stop. She's already dead. Jesus
Yes.
Christ. And yeah, Suri, there were a few tag matches in December that she worked where she actually pinned Utami in the matches, and
Yes.
then she dropped the title to Utami in January, and for that I thank her because yeah, it was fantastic work. She's just an amazing wrestler and a killer, and I just love the work she's done in Marigold.
Definitely. Definitely. Um, Next on my list, Victoria Yuzuki. I
Love
had a
that.
typo in here and I named her Yuzuka, and that doesn't seem to hit quite right.
No, but
But
she is
Victoria,
a little bit of a judoka.
that is true. So yeah, I like Yuzuki. I will say that, I'm still waiting for her to have like that kind of fucking match where I'm like, she is fucking here.
Right,
I
one where
don't
she doesn't have any slip ups.
Exactly, and it's clean, and it's her puffing her chest out like, "I run this fucking shit," and I still think she's capable of that kind of match. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm still enjoying her journey. I think she has really stepped her fucking game up. She's definitely, I think, a future world champion in Marigold, and yeah, I'm just loving that she's really putting it all together on her own time, and she's worth waiting for. Nothing really more to say than that. Who's next on your list?
Number 3 on my Marigold Fave 5 is Natsumi Shozuki, another one like Miku Aono, who has, since the company started, been in my top 2, falling out of my top 2 for the first time, although not as far. She is still at number 3.
Yes.
Shozuki's still fantastic. Actually, I do want to say I did lie. She hasn't been in my top 2 every single time. Back in October, I did have her at 3 then. But other than that one instance, she has been 1 or 2 for me every single time. So this is the second time now that she's fallen out of my top 2. She's at number 3 again. So again, though, there's consistency there. She's always in my top 3 at least.
Yes.
And Shizuki is just, I think she is my favorite performer that Marigold introduced me to, at the very least.
Yes.
And again, like Sari, she's a fucking killer. She makes wrestling feel real. She goes out there with the goal to not just win the match, but to fucking destroy and dismantle her opponents. I love her knee drop in the in the on the ropes where she does like the springboard knee drop. I love her kicks. I think that she had her super flyweight championship reign cut a little bit shorter than I would have liked, but I do like that it was Yuzuki that got it. And now I am looking very much forward to Shozuki, hopefully, please, or Nagisa, one of the two of them, being the one that beats Sakurai for the Wonder or the United National Championship. And the sooner the fucking better. For Christ's sake, please, soon. Rossi, fuck you, Rossi, you old sack of shit.
Yeah, really. Um, Next for me, Miko Aono.
Nice.
A bit weird after the fucking injustice that you told me happened to her in that fucking title matchup as far as booking goes.
I almost have to wonder if the reason that you have her ranked higher than me is because you didn't have to witness her getting her shit kicked out of the way I did.
Again, I'm so sorry. Uh, but no, I mean, that notwithstanding, and that's a lot to notwithstand. Uh, Yeah, I just think when I think about, again, much like a Hanan in the future, who emanates that ace energy, whose face is on the marquee, and doing all the stuff, it's Miko Aono. I think she's got a tremendous look in ring. She's so fucking good. I love the theme song. Like when you say complete package, it really is Miko Aono in this company from top to bottom. I was looking forward to her facing Utami, and I still am, but apparently in the world where my Sakurai is the toughest ever, maybe I should start worrying about Sakurai dropping the United National title and then beating Utami for the world title
Who
instead.
said she had to drop the United National title to do it? Maybe she'll just be a double fucking champ in Rossi's world.
God, I love when you know when to go one step further. That is just quality right there, chef's kiss. Um, but yeah, I mean honestly, bro, you telling me that I've always had in the back of my mind that Sakurai could be a future world champion. Now I'm really convinced. Like, yeah, Rossi will probably do it at some point. I hope not before Miko Aono. In my opinion, personally, she deserves to be the next champion after Utami. I think her body of work speaks for itself. She's stupendous. I can't wait for the next big thing that she does. And yeah, I think she's just everything good and beautiful about Joshi wrestling. So, who is next on your list?
Well, I think that if Miku Aono isn't the woman to beat Utami Hayashishita, then my number 2 on my Fave 5 probably will be, and that is Mirai.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
I think those are the two options really as far as who our next world champ is going to be. It's either going to be Miku or it's going to be Mirai in my mind.
Right.
And
That makes sense.
Mirai's work lately has been fantastic. I feel like she, I feel like when she went to Marigold, she kind of picked up a little bit. She found a newfound sense of urgency and maybe even a little more personality. And even just in recent months, I feel like both of those things have picked up yet again on top of the little boost that she got just going to Marigold. I feel like we've gotten even more of like a sense of urgency and a little bit of a speed boost from Mirai. Bro, she was kipping up. She was playing around with Miku, like fucking teasing her, trapping her with that fucking pin in that tag match. I really enjoyed seeing Mirai kind of let her hair down and have some fun in that match. And I think that that contributed a lot to me ranking her so highly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love getting to see more personality from Mirai, and I love seeing her really get to kind of show off her ability. And really, I also think she has lost weight, and I think that that has also contributed to this sort of sense of urgency. Is just that she's moving faster because she's trimmed down and she's physically capable of moving faster, and it's starting to turn her into a lean, mean wrestling machine, and it's getting a little bit scary how fucking good that she's gotten, even though she's always been at least pretty good. It seems like she's closing very close into like genuine great territory.
Yeah. Dude, I completely agree with everything you're saying. Like, it's amazing to me how Marigold has lit a fire under her ass.
Yeah, she said,
And
"I'm not
yeah,
interested in just being an upper mid card heavyweight babyface. I'm gonna be a fucking ace."
yeah. And I'll tell you what, she can do it. She can do it.
She's
Um,
like, "I ain't Goto. I'm fucking Tanahashi. Goddamn it."
yeah, yeah. I love that you're recognizing her effort and stuff because yeah, she wants it. We always talk about like I almost feel like hunger and like passion like this have almost become like empty concepts. But like with Mirai, she's living that shit, man.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
I'm
Two
glad
for
you
me.
see it too. I'm glad that I'm not just blowing smoke for no
No,
reason.
I don't think you. No, like go back, guys, and watch her Stardom stuff, and then watch her now and tell me she's not fucking motivated. Like, yeah, there is definitely something happened to her mentally, like in a good way, where she's like, wait a minute, I'm fucking Mirai. Wait another goddamn minute, they're not me. Why is this happening? And now she's just on a mission to correct the injustices of history. But number two for me, Natsumi Shozuki.
Nice.
Again, people, we stay out here celebrating quality technical wrestling, not, oh, I bent your finger and gave it a boo boo. Now say that I'm the best. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Butch.
Um, exactly. Thank you for joining in.
Dude, I love that every time either one of us shits on shitty Brit Rest trying to do an impersonation of actual good technical wrestling, it always comes back to Butch because he is the quintessence of that garbage.
Yes. Yuzuki, on the other hand, my God, excuse me,
Shozuki.
Shozuki, on the other hand, my God, Uh, I again the strikes, the pins out of nowhere, how good the offense looks. Put her in the ring with Utami.
Oh,
Seriously,
please.
put her in the ring with fucking Utami because it would look like a mismatch on paper, but she's so tiny. Shut your damn
She's
hole.
not, though. She's not tiny.
Exactly. Yeah, and like I just think wrestling wise, you know what's funny? I've heard like Jim Ross and other people, like those old heads that really worked with Vince and stuff, especially during like the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era, say that one reason they loved like your Eddies and your Benoits and stuff like that was despite their stature before they really also like bulked up and stuff like that, that they were believable against anybody because you know chop down the redwood or you're just this kind of technician. That's fucking Shozuki. Like Shozuki is absolutely in that same vein to me that you could put her honestly, I'll give a better comparison, even though she's not necessarily tall, she is built like a fucking unit. Put her in there with a Bozilla, and I think it's believable. I do, because her wrestling is such that I know she would devise a game plan to chop down the redwood, maybe even get Bozilla to tap out. I could buy it. Shozuki is just that type of wrestler, man. And I'm not saying they're underutilizing her, but I really want to see them like challenge Shozuki. You know, put her in there with different types of opponents. I mean, my God, we've had Yuzuki in there with Bozoa, and they've been great matches. Put Shozuki in there with her. Put her in there with Utami. Put her in there with those people and watch her fucking work. The best technician I think Marigold has. And either her
Bro,
or
I just
Mirai at the very
read
least.
something that blew my fucking mind.
What's up?
Natsumi Shozuki is a former Goddesses of Stardom champion with Kairi Hojo.
That's fucking nuts.
She and Kairi won the Goddesses titles back in 2013 together.
I love the world sometimes.
They
Just
beat
sometimes.
they beat a team that would eventually become like they would kind of like merge into Oedo Tai. A team that was called Kimura Monster Gun. Kyoko Kimura, Hana's mother, who was teaming at the time as tag team champions with Haley Hatred. They were the tag team champions that Natsumi and Kairi beat to win the titles. And unfortunately, they ended up having to vacate the titles because Shizuki was injured. She got some kind of cervical spine injury that they had to vacate the titles because of.
That's oof.
Dude, she retired for like 8 years. She pulled an Arisa and she came back in 2021 after retiring in 2013.
And how lucky are we for that?
Dude, right?
Holy
It's
fucking shit.
crazy. It's crazy that like we got in on the ground level of Arisa's return, and it feels like we're doing it with Natsumi's as well. It's amazing.
I just want to say too, after you told me all that, it's so funny how everybody wants to like posture like they're doing gangster shit, and Shozuki's just quietly doing gangster shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna take a break, get myself right, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna murder everyone and have great fucking matches doing it. What a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want her in the ring with Utami, man. 100%. I want her in there with Utami. If Sakurai wasn't so clearly OP after what you told me, and I already got a sense that she was going to be OP in Marigold, making Nane Takahashi tap out to an STF, get the fuck out of here.
She beat Pozilla too. She beat Pozilla
Yeah,
by count out in the fucking Dream Star.
we're in hell, bro.
We
That's all there
really
is to it.
are.
But Shozuki, I still hope has a bright future in Marigold. And even if her legacy is first ever Superfly flyweight champion and had banger matches just along the way, you could do far worse. I'm just saying she deserves far better.
Yes.
She's astounding. So who is I believe this would this be number one on your Marigold list at this point?
It's number one on both of our Monty Gold lists because we have the same woman. You completely cut out. Thanks a lot, Crisp.
Oh, I said, oh my god, it's happening, but far more excitedly. So
It is.
it's fucking Utami. No, you
You,
have to go first, though. I'm curious what made her get number one for
you
you.
goddamn right it's Utami because our Red Queen has fucking returned. God damn it.
Yes, at last.
Fuck. I feel like we've
Yes.
waited 2 years for this, maybe 3 at this point, because Utami hasn't really felt like Utami since she dropped the title to Shuri.
Yeah, dude, I know.
And now she might not be fully back to like her full power to what she was when she was World of Stardom champion, but this is the closest we've gotten since then to me. And it's also just the very early stages of her red belt run in Marigold. And boy, oh boy, does it feel right.
Yes, yes. Now get her some decent fucking challengers, though.
What did she say after she dropped the world title to Shuri? The World of Stardom Championship doesn't matter when it's not on me.
Yeah, yeah, she did say that.
Yeah, never has that rung more true than it does lately. I mean, Saya, we love you, but nobody has held a candle to Utami's red belt run since Utami.
God, I love when she's right.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yes.
Hey, man, you're speaking on it better than even I could. I'm just so happy for her. Again, I'll be honest, there was a point where I thought like should she even be number 2? But then I look at the Money Gold roster right now, and while I do think there are people that can overtake her, for one thing, I do think she's getting back to being herself, and that's gonna really widen the chasm if that's true. And two, when they actually start giving her opponents I give a shit about, like Miku Aono, like potentially Natsumi Shizuki, which I would love to see, it's fucking over. Like, pack it up. It's over. Like, she's just gonna keep her number 1 spot till she fucking retires. But yeah, for me, it's just she's been fantastic. Love seeing her win the title. I love how she's been carrying herself in Modi Gold. And yeah, I'm just really happy for her. So I'm really glad we share that one. I really don't have much else to say though. If you have anything you want to add, you can. But with that, I think we can go on to our other list.
Awesome. Awesome. Other list, I actually had a lot of fun putting together because we did watch Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling 25 earlier this year at the beginning of January. And I haven't been actively watching AEW much, but I've watched just enough AEW that I was able to squeeze some of those names in between all of the TJPW names.
Okay. All right. Um,
I forget.
so
I think you go first for other Fave Five, right?
yes, I do because I think you went first for Marigold. So I have no honorable mentions. For other, do you want to just get your honorable mentions out real quick before I give my number five?
Oh, you don't have any. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, here we go. You're gonna have fun with this. I think. Ready?
All right, sweet, let's do it.
Megan Bayne.
Oh yes,
She's been in AEW and she actually just signed with AEW permanent, like for real. Like she got the all elite graphic and everything.
they better fucking use her.
Zara Zakir.
I like that. I like that.
She was awesome in that tag championship match. Speaking of that tag championship match, how about her partner, Masha Slamovich?
Nice, nice,
Maki Ito
excellent.
and Yuka Sakazaki, who's been appearing in AEW quite a bit lately, too. She actually just challenged Mercedes for the TBS title.
I gotta tell you, man, it's fucking crazy. Because your honorable mentions are pretty much most of my fave five list. But
Oh, jeez.
yeah, no, it just goes to show, like you are better about watching wrestling than me, and I think you go out of your way to watch more wrestling than I do in this at this particular time, which is just really it's not too surprising. But yeah, you're like, oh, it's a nice little fave five you've got there. Would be a shame if that was almost my entire honorable mention. But yeah, five for me, Miyu Yamashita. Um,
Ah, nice. Okay.
I'll always enjoy
I
watching her
didn't
compete.
mention her.
That is true. No, see, I got one person. I think you and I though will share another person in my fave five. So you've almost got like my entire fave five, save for one person who I know you will not have. But yeah, my number one, I know she's going to be on your list. Maybe even number one on your list. We'll have to see. But for number five, Mia Yamashita, nothing really to say. She's a killer. I enjoy watching her in the ring. It's just God. I want her to travel. I want her to go to a different promotion. I want her to really like challenge herself. But for what she does, she's really fucking good at it, and it's never not entertaining. Who starts your other Fave Five list?
Chris Statlander.
Nice, nice.
Man, let me tell you what. I love Willow Nightingale, but I didn't watch anything by her this grading period at all. Otherwise, she would have definitely made it somewhere on my other list. But I watched a couple Chris Statlander matches, and she has gotten really fucking good at wrestling. I haven't really done any promo work for her, but man, her in ring has gotten tight. She is a fantastic power wrestler, and she can do some athletic stuff that power wrestlers probably shouldn't be able to do. She is really impressive. Her match with Mercedes at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, I don't remember what the name of the pay per view was. It was like World's End or something like that. The AEW show that Mercedes defended the TBS title against her was fantastic. Just shy, I think, of a match of the year nom for me. They were great.
Yeah,
It was the best match on that show from what I saw. And yeah, Statlander really impressive for
yeah. Your face is really impressive to me.
me. Ooh,
Um,
thank you.
so yeah, that's right. It's happening. For me, Maki Ito.
Nice.
Man, it's funny because even putting this list together, and I feel like I've been saying it a bit more lately, appropriately when Maki Ito comes up. I don't know if she's as over as she even was like a few years ago, but she's still very over. Like I'm not trying to say people don't care about her anymore. It's just I feel like there was a point where she would like was the epicenter of the wrestling zeitgeist in a way.
Dude, do you
I
want me
don't.
to tell you exactly why?
Why is that?
I'll give you, I will genuinely, and I want you to try here. I have one person's name in mind as who is to blame for why Maki Ito was a flash in the pan and isn't really talked about anymore. And I will give you one guess before I name it.
I want to joke and say Cody Rhodes, but I want to be serious.
You're actually not far off.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
Tony Khan?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It is.
My girth.
It is entirely on Tony Khan in my mind because Tony Khan said, oh, here's someone with a lot of internet buzz. Let me put her on my show and present her exactly how she's presented in Japan in front of people who understand her fucking language rather than, I don't know, adapting it to my fucking audience. And people didn't just get it because obviously they didn't just fucking get it because she's a Japanese wrestler who appeals to Japanese audiences. And the thing about her that appeals to American audiences is her Twitter game. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Tony? And she didn't get over in America, at least on AEW. And it was awkward as hell. And she was like singing her theme song at the top of the ramp while people were wrestling in the ring. And I guess Tony thought that was clever and funny. And then she went back to Japan and didn't get capitalized on by TJPW. And it's been total coasting since then. And I don't mean her coasting, I mean like TJPW by not capitalizing on the momentum that she had by being on fucking American television in front of hundreds of thousands of fans, by not capitalizing on that and putting the title on her then, her momentum has just died. She has zero fucking momentum at all.
I'm just glad that we don't disagree and that I'm not being like petty or out of pocket
No,
because that
no,
was
you're
just
100%
my
on
perception.
point. I just wanted to try and offer what I believe to be the explanation for why your correct observation is the case.
Thanks for backing me up, bud. But no, it's a shame though, man, because her in ring is so good. Just in the sense of like, because here's the thing, I know in this day and age, everybody's idea of so good is going to be different. And you and I have already talked about how you and I just, the culture has passed us by for what passes for really insanely good wrestling or whatever. And we're like, what the fuck is this dog shit? Her stuff looks really crisp,
Yep.
really clean. I think she has one of the best cold reliefs in the fucking business. Um,
It's
uh,
interesting too because you have her ranked above her own tag partner in Miyu, and I think I mean I don't even have Miyu Yamashita in my top 10. Like, I don't have her in my fave five. I don't have her in my honorable mention. And I like Miyu, but I think that you and I would both agree. I think that Maki Ito, for our personal taste in pro wrestling, is even a better in ring performer than Miyu Yamashita.
yes, yes,
Because I think that it comes down to the psychology. I think it comes down to the selling. I think it comes down to like the stuff that I just think that Maki does that Miyu doesn't really bother with because Miyu has the cool spots that the AEW fans prefer.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, I just, I wanted different for her. I wanted her to be TJPW's, Princess of Princess champion. I wanted her to be over like gangbusters in America. That stuff can still happen,
Yeah.
but it just didn't happen when I thought it was going to happen. But
Do
she
you know what I
still
think it comes
was
back
really
to
good.
actually?
What's that?
Do you remember all those years where someone would get over in NXT and then get brought up to the WWE, to the main roster with the exact same gimmick that they had at the time in NXT and no one would get it and they wouldn't get over and they would get forgotten about and then just get lost in the shuffle?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's what Tony Khan did with Maki Ito. He
Yeah,
just brought her over with the exact gimmick and just treated her like she was still in TJPW rather than actually introducing her to the audience and building her up in such a way that would get her over the same way that she got over in TJPW, just like with WWE, where rather than basically repeating the build that got the person over in NXT on the main roster, they just said, okay, they're over, so we're going to just have them come up to the main roster now the way that they are now, and we'll just assume that they'll stay over. It doesn't fucking work like that. You can't just assume that overness is going to carry over from one brand to another. You have to basically think like, okay, what led to this person getting over like this? How do we recreate those results on our brand? Tony Khan didn't do that. Vince wouldn't do that with the NXT people that he called up, and it fails every fucking time. It takes a very
yes,
special talent to overcome that setback, in my opinion.
yes.
And I think Maki
Uh,
Ito is a special talent, but it's more that she's a special talent for Japanese audiences. American audiences aren't going to get her like that.
Yes. Yeah. I'm definitely, after seeing everything we've seen, I definitely do agree with you. I know this is more of a conversational pick, so I have to remember that you go next. Who is next on your list?
Number 4 on my other list is Mizuki.
Nice.
the
Nice.
new Princess of Princess champion. Man, I know we were a little disappointed that she won just because of who she beat for the title, but that did not stop that match from being fantastic. And as much as I know we both love Miyu Watanabe, it takes two to tango, and I think Mizuki is a
Yes.
fantastic worker. I think that Mizuki is extremely underrated, actually, like to the point that I love Yuka Sakazaki, but where I think most people would say, oh yeah, Yuka Sakazaki, clearly the Michaels of that team. I think that's a double Michaels team. Magical Sugar Rabbits. I don't
Yes.
think there is a Janetti in that team. I think Mizuki's way too fucking good to just be like writing her off. I don't necessarily think that I would go all the way to the point that I would say that Mizuki's the better worker between the two because we've seen what Yuka can do in terms of like her versatility, where she can go from being this like cutesy, smiley, adorable baby face to fucking dark Yuka. And we've never seen that level of variety from Mizuki, but I do love what Mizuki does. I think she's an amazing actor in the ring. I love her facial expressions. I love her her selling, especially, which when you're that I almost said demure. When you're
Yeah.
that tiny is really what I'm trying to say though. When you're that tiny and that sort of um you know lean, because she is very tiny. I think she's like 95 pounds. Um you have to be a good seller because if you're that tiny and your selling isn't convincing, no one's going to believe in you as a wrestler at all. And Mizuki, I
Yes.
think, has mastered the art of sort of portraying herself as the victim in all of her matches. And I think she does a great job of it and gets people behind her and makes people want to see her overcome her opponents no matter who it is. So yeah, Mizuki's great.
I completely agree with you. 100%. Three for me, Masha Slamovich.
Love it.
You know what I love about her, dude? And I've been thinking a lot about her since that tag match we saw on TJPW and other stuff that I've seen, I mean, even beyond this grading period, like GCW's like blood sport clips and stuff like that. Masha has the energy right now that I wish Shayna Baszler still had on the main roster. This woman is a
Yeah.
fucking killer.
Didn't
Like,
we get Masha versus Shayna at a Bloodsport at one point?
did. We
Yeah.
did.
I feel like I remember
Um,
loving that.
Yeah, I loved it too, and I'd love if Shayna was allowed to be that on the main fucking roster instead of being in a dweeb faction, Pure Fusion Collective. Jesus fucking Christ.
Teaming up with
But
one woman who fucking injures people and another woman that's never gotten over in her life.
exactly. So, for those of you that want to scream into the void because what happened to my Shayna Baszler? Look how they massacred my girl. Um,
Masha.
y- yeah, Masha to me is the palliative kind of treatment for you while you're just slowly screaming into that void and remembering that there are other women that carry that same energy. Yeah, she is a fucking badass. Isn't
Bro,
she even like a former TNA Knockouts champion?
not former, current, to the point that Natalia challenged her for a fucking TNA title match.
Honestly, I've TNA has made some really weird missteps. They're also doing some things right. So as per usual, TNA's a mixed bag. I really can't forgive them for the Tessa shit. But with Masha as your knockouts champion, I might actually at least watch her YouTube segments. And if they're not like showing the best parts of her matches, I might even just have to go and find TNA shows like online and watch her fucking matches
I was
because
gonna say, you
she's a
you
lot of
say
fun.
that now, but when her next feud is Natalia, you're not gonna want to watch it.
You know what though? You say that, and that's fair. But even when Roxanne had that brief, that's when like I'm a big fan of somebody. I want to know, can I be as big a fan of Masha as I've come to be for Roxanne? Because when Roxanne had that little thing with Natty, I watched that, and like, yeah, you're right, it's fucking Natalia, but
Yeah.
Masha's cool, man. I really like her. She's somebody that I wouldn't be surprised if her name comes up in my list again. Just because she is so much fun. So who is next on your list, brother?
Number 3 on my other list is Mercedes Moné.
Nice, nice.
And again,
Yeah,
this just comes down to the stuff that I go out of my way to watch that I know that you aren't going out of your way to watch. Her
yeah.
match with Statlander at World's End, her match with Mina at Wrestle Dynasty. She still fucking got it. I know she also had a match with Hazuki on a New Japan Strong show that probably happened before this grading period, but I watched it during this grading period. So kind of halfway counts towards this as far as I'm concerned. Um, but yeah, dude, she's back in her bag as an in-ring performer, at least. I can't really speak to the promos because I don't go out of my way to watch her promos because I know that I've never really, or I shouldn't say never, but I haven't really liked her promos in a really long time. Let's just put it that way. I think the last time I liked her promos was like pandemic era. I loved her promos during the pandemic era, other than the weird fake laugh.
Yes.
But her in-ring work has been fucking pristine as of late. She's been putting on great matches. She even just had a really good one with Yuka Sakazaki. Unfortunately, it was completely heatless because the AEW crowd doesn't care about Yuka anymore, and that breaks my heart because she used to be so over for them.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now that I'm like, okay, well, you know, Yuka's not over anymore for them. Turn her heel. Let's get a dark Yuka run on AEW. Shock some people.
God, if I see, oh God, I don't want to take the ball from you because it's your turn, but like if I just believed more in AEW booking, I would get so excited about that. But it's just so fucking bad, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
Mercedes has been just really really good in the ring, fantastic wrestler, and we can move on to your number two.
God, I really wish we had better alternatives because I understand why Mercedes doesn't want to go back to WWE either. Like I saw that video clip, but man, fuck. Anyway, got to get out of my own
Dude,
head.
that video clip fucking popped me.
We want to see you come back so you cannot like lose. Fuck. Uh, number two for me, Joe Hendry.
Wow. So that means that you left one of my top two off your list entirely.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Holy shit.
You know what? I like the dude. I don't know what to say. I actually watched his title win at Genesis against Nemeth. Glad to see the TNA is sobering up. Nemeth is very hard to kick. Speaking of, I don't know if you saw the new drug on the street. It's Ryan Nemeth, who people, because apparently he's been doing more stuff with Nick, they're like, oh, he's got underrated comedic chops. Now, I haven't watched this for myself, mainly because
Oh, I'll tell you, dude, it's literally Ryan's entire gimmick. You know how Roderick Strong for the longest time had that whole thing where he did the Adam?
yes, yes.
Ryan's doing that basically, but he's saying, my brother! Exactly like that. Every single time.
Wrestling fans, raise your standards, challenge difficulty impossible,
Dude,
apparently.
I know. I watched a quick segment of him doing that. It got old after he did it twice, and he kept doing it like three more times.
But this is why Joe Hendry's smart, though, because his in ring is solid enough. Like, he's not a work rate guy by any means. But think about it, the theme song is so fucking simple, and it gives instructions. Wave your arms from side to side and say, like, this is what people need today. Look at the shithole we're living in.
So
Joe
you're
Hendry gets
telling me it's
it.
the wrestling equivalent of the Cupid Shuffle?
Yes, exactly. Like, he understands, look, overly complex, narrative depth. Fuck all of that.
Or
I'm gonna
like the
hold them by
Macarena?
yeah, I'm gonna hold them by the hand and I'm gonna walk them through, and this is gonna be a very accessible gimmick. And you know what? My cynicism and my deep, deep, deep misanthropy aside, there's nothing wrong with accessible gimmicks. And like, yeah, he's the world champion and he's the most over guy in the fucking company. So this is actually a case where I can unironically say, hey, TNA, good booking. Great. Now we're also gonna bring back Tessa Blanchard. Wait, no, wait. And it's like, then it's fucked again. But yeah, I like the guy. Hey, when I'm stoned, I like listening to his theme song, and I have waved my arms side to side in private like a grown up because you're not gonna catch me doing it in public like a mark. But yeah, it's a fun time. We're all having fun. We're all laughing at the end of the world. What can I tell you? Who's next on your list?
I'm gonna just tell you right now, my number two is your number one, so we might as well just celebrate her together. It's Miyu Watanabe.
Really want to know who your number one is. But then again,
I
you
feel like it
watch this.
should be really obvious, and I'm stunned that you didn't have her on your list at all.
You know what? I'll probably stun myself, but for now, you're goddamn right. Watanabe was number one because she's adorable and transcendent.
Yes,
Fuck.
she is incredible. I have been spending the last couple days since the draft, actually, the Discord fantasy wrestling draft that we did on Sunday, trying to put people on to Miyu Watanabe, both in our server and in another server, actually, just trying to get people to be like, just to check her out in general, just to look into her. because she is unbelievable. She is fucking incredible. Dude, I don't know if even you realize how young she is. She's 25.
That's crazy. I think I did have an idea of that. I would have guessed 27 though, so I still would have been wrong. But yeah, that's nuts, dude.
She is, I think at least, if we were to separate pro wrestlers into age brackets and we had like an 18 to 29 section or like even just like a 29 and under section, right?
Yeah.
I think Miyu Watanabe is maybe, I would go as far as to say, in the top 3 of that group in terms of in-ring psychology.
Yes. Yes. Dude, she's so fucking good, man. Like I genuinely wonder sometimes, like I'd be lying if I didn't say to you there are times that I genuinely think could she succeed in WWE? Because like she's got the power of a Cesaro, but she's got 30 times the fucking cuteness. No offense, Claudio, but
I bet
she's
Alex
fucking
Foster would
precious.
find a way to disagree with you.
Well, that is a man right there. So I'm not gonna argue with him, but no, I just think Miyu is just fantastic. And I think honestly, if she went to America, like for like a long tenure in America, she would do really well. And this is why I say though, like, I wish we had a genuine alternative because AEW, man, like we know the fucking problems with it. I'm not trying to take the piss here, but I mean, come on. Right? And like not everybody's gonna thrive in WWE either. But when I see what Julia's doing in NXT, when I see what other Joshi have done in NXT, I feel like Miyu could succeed. I don't know. I believe in her. I really hope one day, because she is still so young yet, that she does really take a chance on herself if she gets the offers. I mean, that's another thing too. They've got to be interested too. But that she does like some kind of a tenure, even if it's just for a couple of years in America or whatever, or maybe a whole career there if it really turns out. Because yeah, like that is my one problem with TJPW. I do like them on the whole. I mean, there's no wrestling company I hate more on this planet than AEW. Let's just get that right. But it just does feel like a very small pond for a lot of these women.
Yeah.
I feel that way about Miyu Yamashita, but even more so now, I feel that way about Miyu Watanabe. I'm like, woman, you are so good. Like, I want to see you take on the world. So yeah, I love her. But I am curious. I am ready to be stunned about who I oversaw, like who I overlooked for number one. Who is number one in your other list?
The glamour, Mariah May.
You know why I didn't add her? You're right, but this is a grading period where I didn't watch as much as the previous grading period, so it would have felt a bit disingenuous. But how has she been doing? Let's talk about Mariah May.
She's the literal best thing that AEW has going for them.
That's so true. That I can believe, even without really checking in as much lately.
Yeah, they're probably gonna throw her as champion away on a show coming up because they're gonna be having her defended against Tony Storm in Australia, which means you bet your ass she's losing it to her. Um,
Yeah,
Tony Storm just had an angle where she was pretending to have amnesia over the timeless gimmick, and she was acting like she was a rookie that just signed and debuted for AEW, and she was just happy to be there, and she was like all like humble and like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm in AEW, this is amazing. And then Mariah attacked her, and after Mariah attacked her, she stripped down to her skivvies and revealed that she was actually timeless all along, and that she lured Mariah into her trap somehow. She said it was all a ruse, I believe. Um, and that's just it. I don't actually understand how this benefited Tony in any way. I don't understand how Tony Storm gained any psychological edge over Mariah May from this at all. I don't think she actually did. I think this is more of just Tony Storm wanting to copy some kind of movie storyline maybe, and then wanting to do cinema. And at the end of the day, it's like Roman said, this is fucking McDonald's shit, and this bloodline is steak. um I fucking love Mariah May though. She is consistently one of the best promos on any given show that she gets to cut one on. Her matches are still fucking amazing, dude. her match with Mina was good. I'm not gonna say it was like S tier amazing by any means, but Mariah specifically, still, man, she moves with a fucking purpose in the ring. I still think she throws one of the best shotgun drop kicks in the business. She's been using Tony's finisher, Storm Zero, the pile driver, as her finisher, and she makes it look better than Tony ever did. I mean, to me, we talk about Ova Femi being like a generational prospect in terms of just someone who literally checks every single box: the look, the size, the promo skills, the in ring, the charisma. Mariah to me is the female equivalent of that. Mariah to me is everything you want in a female wrestler. She looks like she wouldn't be able to wrestle because she's too hot to be a wrestler. But then you actually hear her talk or you actually see her wrestle. And it's like, how the fuck does this happen? How did the wrestling business get so fucking lucky as to get a woman as talented as Mariah May to choose it?
Yes. Yes. I'll ask you one question because she is number one on your list, and really anything good I would say about her, you've already said better than I ever could. You think she'll go to WWE one day?
I
You think?
really hope so. Like, if she doesn't, that's got to be up there with like AJ Styles in terms of one of the longest wasted careers of all time.
Yeah, and see, my thing is, AJ at least did course correct at a certain point. We still got a lot of good years out of him. If Mariah never touched WWE ring, that would have to be one of the biggest what ifs in my mind in recent wrestling history to me.
I think
Because
it's
she is
almost got
so
to
good.
be inevitable
Yeah, that's how
because
I feel too.
the work she's doing is so undeniable at this point, and clearly she's not uh as appreciated as she should be if
Yes,
they're ready to throw her title reign away on Tony Storm already. And even it's not even just a Tony Khan thing. The AEW fans overlook her in favor of Tony Storm. Like they value Tony Storm over her, which is egregious to me.
yes.
To me, yeah. And also I would even go as far as to say like she's probably had WWE as a goal since she was a kid. So I'm guessing that once WWE comes a knockin' and they'd be foolish to not come a knockin', she'll be more than happy to sign on that dotted line.
I love too that she, like, because I agree with you on everything you're saying. So I will say to that, like, I love that she's taken the scenic route in a way because she really wants to add out her resume to really show them, like, hey, her resume, pop. But yeah, that she's taken the long route, just to be like, this is everything that I have to offer, and I am going to be a future women's champion for y'all because you've said it before. I've co-signed, and now I'm like saying it now, reiterating the moment she comes in, I know Tiffany Stratton's really fucking over and she'll probably remain so, but I could see Mariah May taking that overness from her and just kind of rendering her kind of irrelevant to me. So
Dude,
I
and
hope it happens.
that's the one thing that scares me for Mariah is that WWE would just be like, well, why would we want you when we have Tiffany?
God, you do
And
make
like,
points.
I
Yeah.
mean, you and I see that as egregious and like, what the fuck? Like, why would you want someone that actually does wrestling and promos well compared to this woman who can't do either one particularly well? I don't
Yes.
know, maybe because that's stuff that you want to be done well on a wrestling program. I don't know.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they might just see it as like those things aren't as valuable to us as the things that Tiffany does do well,
Yes.
like flips.
Yes. Yes. All right. That's it. And it's just about 7:30. We usually get done around this time, so perfect timing. Let's round out with our universal top 10.
All
Do you
right.
want to initiate this for your number 10 and then I go number 10, or do you want me
My
to start?
number 10, she just barely made the cut. Chelsea Green.
My number 10, Miyu Watanabe.
Nice. I have her a little bit higher on my list, actually. Number 9, Micah.
Number 9, Sami Zayn.
Number 8 for me is No Quarter Catch Crew.
Dude, fucking hilarious because number 8 for me is Charlie Dempsey only because of how I broke it up this quarter
Nice.
or
Yep.
this Fave 5.
Number 7, Mercedes Moné.
7 for me, Seth Rollins.
Number 6, again, Miyu Watanabe.
6 for me, Hanan.
Number 5 from me. Wait. Did I get ahead of myself? Did I go first?
You did go first, so you should be on number 5.
Okay, yeah. Number 5 for me, Hazuki.
All right, we're in the top 5 now. Number 5 for me, Starlight Kid.
Number 4 for me, Mina Shirakawa.
Number 4 for me, Oba Femi.
Ooh, wow. Okay, number 3. Now this is like we're getting intense here.
Yes.
Top 5 so far. I've got Hazuki, then Mina. Number 3 is Mariah May.
Number 3 for me, Utami.
Nice. Number 2 for me, Io Sky.
Number 2 for me, Roxanne Perez. That women's rumble, I think, really pushed her over the top for me.
And I know exactly who your number 1 is, and I bet you know exactly who mine is. And we both have men at number 1 after a bunch of women. Number 1 for me, Obafemi.
Number 1 for me, and he did exactly what he should have done. Sami Zayn got exactly what he deserved. It's Kevin Owens. That's it, y'all. That's Fave 5. Great stuff, man. I really loved your list this time around. I had a lot of fun. I will say again, Marigold was my toughest list this period.
Mine, I think, was actually NXT. I had a hard time with NXT. I got to about 7 or 8, and then I was like, who the fuck do I add to this list? Thankfully, I remembered Trick, and I was like, you know what? With how much I wanted Trick to be in the Rumble, he should definitely be on my list. And then I kind of had to dig a little deeper and be like, you know what? Just Dion Lennox. I like Dion. He can go on the list. That's fine.
Yes. Yes. All right. With that said, guys, NXT in just under a half hour.
Woohoo!
So be sure to join us for that if you can. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Leave a like if you file out, subscribe.
Our next Fave Fives will be on April 22nd.
So after WrestleMania.
That is the Tuesday after Mania, exactly. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So Tuesday, April 22nd. So yeah, guys, leave a like if you file out, subscribe, click the icon notifications so you miss any of that total goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the WC. And we will see you guys again for Stardom on Thursday. We'll have to see if they get the big show up. But Ash and I have already kind of hammered out a card for the most recent big show that they did. And it comes out to, I believe, 5 matches. So I did agree to do a match that Ashton, you left up to me. I said I was fine doing it. So we've already got a nice roster of 5. So should be a really interesting Thursday. So that again will be at 7 p.m. And then if you're like, yeah, but I'm just really tuned into WWE right now and just American wrestling for the most part, then yeah, weekend review, 10:30 on Saturday. So be sure to join us there. Until then, be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in. Peace out.